The National League East, Atlanta 53-33, with the Mets at 10 games above 500, 48-38, and even 5 games back. A look at some of the numbers of what the Mets bring into this series. They rank 6th in terms of hitting. Roger Cedeno leading the way at 323. John Olerud having another outstanding season at 313. The Mets averaging in the bottom echelon of the National League at 5 1/3 runs a game. In terms of home runs, the Mets sort of the middle of the pack with 100. Mike Piazza leads them with 17 in terms of ERA. Armando Benitez now their closer at 1.43, the best. Now this matchup tonight is a rematch of the third game of that series, which was taken by the Mets. Al Leiter, who turned it into a 5-game winning streak after beating Roger Clemens that day, against Roger Clemens, who's been much better since this outing against the Mets when Mike Piazza made him pay and the Mets drilled him early. However, Roger Clemens in his last 3 starts has given up only 6 earned runs. The Yankees haven't gotten him much run support, but it's more of the Roger Clemens that we've come to know in his recent years in dominating the American League with power and finesse. Meanwhile, Al Leiter was a lost pitcher until that day when the coaching staff got fired and he took on the Yankees. And he dealt with Paul O'Neill, and he dealt with a long ball game on into the night with a win. And over that 5-game winning stretch that started then for Al Leiter, he didn't give up a single home run, but that ended last weekend. Al Leiter still brings a lot of confidence into this game. Roger Clemens has acknowledged he would want to gain some revenge after that performance against the Mets. Al Leiter's record is 7-6. Roger Clemens is 8-2, but the ERA is not Clemens-like, 4.50. Here are the lineups for the Mets and the Yankees. First for the Bombers, Knobloch leads it off, followed by Derek Jeter, Paul O'Neill, and Bernie Williams. Scott Brocious, Tino Martinez, Jorge Posada, Chad Curtis, and Roger Clemens. Meanwhile, for the New York Mets, Ricky Henderson, Edgardo Alfonso, John Olerud, Mike Piazza, Brian McRae, and Robin Ventura, who does start at third, as I mentioned. Then it's Roger Cedeno, Ray Ordonez, and Al Leiter. Now, one of the things that we'll talk about in our post-game coverage is your opinion. Go to the www.msgnetwork.com website, click on the New York Sports Poll icon, and vote on the question of the week. It's the Continental Airlines fan poll, and tonight's question is 6 games of interleague play too much or not? We phrased it, should the Yankees and Mets play 6 times in a season, yes or no? We'll discuss that in our post-game coverage with Michael Kay when we get a good sense of how you feel about things. They arrived early in the afternoon, and in the warm sunshine in New York, they're making their way into Shea Stadium in Flushing. The atmosphere should be great as the 1999 Subway Series continues. Memories of the Subway Series beginning after this. 1,000 will max out Shea Stadium's facilities here tonight. We're back live in Flushing. Jeff Van Gundy, fresh off his trip to the NBA Finals as head coach of the New York Knicks, bonding with Don Zimmer as he did the same thing with Bobby Valentine and Joe Torre. And about 10 seconds into his meeting with Joe Torre, Jeff Van Gundy said, "How are you feeling?" And Joe Torre said, "I feel great, but to you I say congratulations for getting as far as you did." Meanwhile, here at Shea Stadium, we saw the hordes of people arriving on the subway platform in the right field corner. They've taken the subway, and the young fans, Yankees or Mets, probably think, hey, this is a Subway Series. I took the subway to get here. But the fact of the matter is this, well, it is a Subway Series. But then again, if you talk to people who are old enough, they know that this really is not. We begin with a history lesson involving 2 very important members of the New York Yankees hierarchy as they'll take us with Yogi Berra down memory lane. After World War II and on into the 50s was a golden time in New York. Who was number 1 was decided in this town almost every year. Pee Wee's Dodgers claimed 1, and then Willie, Mickey, and the Duke became unforgettable legends. There was a shot heard round the world. There were valiant plays by Jackie, but in the end, most of the celebrating was done by the Yankees. Now, in a different time, the 7 train can bring us to Shea, where Mike Piazza knows the Yankees last time got his Mets going in the right direction. All the hype that goes into this in '99 is embraced by the Yankee shortstop star Derek Jeter, who knows how to deliver in big spots. The Mets are battling in their own league and in their own city to play catch-up with the Yankees, who are trying in the bigger picture to keep the town and defend the crown. The Subway Series, coming at you now. MSG is the network of the 1998 World Champions, and tonight the Yankees find themselves in enemy territory. Shea Stadium in Flushing, New York. It's the Subway Series of 1999 and a rematch of a game that went the Mets' way just a couple of weeks ago in the Bronx. Roger Clemens against Al Leiter, who's turned his season around. Well, you can take the 4 to Grand Central and get on the 7 and make your way to Flushing, or you can take the bus from the Bronx like the Yankees did. Steve Phillips wondering whether this team he's assembled is good enough to go to the postseason. Brian Cashman, the Yankee GM, knows his team is good enough to get there once again. Good evening, everybody. I'm Al Troutwig. There is nothing bad to be playing a baseball game in an atmosphere like we find ourselves surrounded in at Shea Stadium tonight. So far, we've heard a lot of noise. They're split apparently down the middle. The Mets know that one thing the Yankees did in that last series was that they turned their season in the right direction. Since then, they've had the best record in baseball with a record of 21-10. The batting average is up, the pitching is better, and here we go with Roger Clemens going up against Al Leiter. We go upstairs now to Jim Cott and Ken Singleton for tonight's game on MSG. Guys?
All right, thanks a lot, Al. Well, we have a marquee pitching matchup to start this series, just like we did to end the last series between the Yankees and the Mets. Roger Clemens would probably like to forget his performance.
He certainly would. It didn't work out. The Yankees were trying to sweep the series against the Mets back on June the 6th at Yankee Stadium. It didn't work out for Roger Clemens. It didn't work out for the Yankees. In fact, the Mets started scoring early and often in that ball. That's Bobby Bonilla, who's now on the disabled list, picking up a big hit early in the game. And Mike Piazza, with his first ever Yankee Stadium home runs, will drive Roger Clemens out of the ballgame. Only 2 2/3 innings, but as his last start against the Orioles, he was on. Although the Yankees lost the ballgame, Roger Clemens got a no decision.
That's the line against the Mets. 2 2/3 inning. It ended that 20 consecutive winning decision streak. His opponent tonight is Al Leiter, and really it was the game he pitched against the Yankees that got him going in the right direction.
Got him going and got the Mets going as well. That game against the Yankees and Roger Clemens, as we mentioned, June 6th at the stadium, and Al Leiter was on that night. He worked deep into the ball game, and he was very successful against lefties like Paul O'Neill with that sweeping breaking ball. And look at this one. Slider down, low and in, got Bernie Williams to chase. In his recent start against his former team, the Marlins, he blows one by the Marlins. Danny Batista. Al Leiter is turning into the staff ace once again.
They start against the Yankees in 7 innings, only 1 run, and since then, look what he's done, 5-1. In fact, he was the National League Pitcher of the Month in June. Plenty of electricity here at Shea Stadium. We're going to have Game 1 of this weekend interleague series for you on MSG when we come back after these messages. Now, welcome back to Shea Stadium. As Al Troutwig mentioned on the pregame show, if you don't like baseball in this atmosphere, you don't like baseball. Some pregame festivities finishing off here before we start tonight's game. In fact, Kenny, one of the gentlemen this weekend throwing out the first pitch, as we see co-owner Nelson Doubleday conferring with Don Zimmer and Joe Torre, is Jeff Van Gundy, the Knicks coach. Got to see what kind of fastball he's got.
Well, we know that he got the Knicks as far as the finals, ran into the San Antonio Spurs, and things ended there. But certainly it was a good professional basketball season for the New York Knicks. And
Hey!
he's all dressed up in a Mets uniform.
Yeah, he had just a nice casual pair of shorts and a golf shirt on behind the batting cage, but they have dressed him up. He's getting loose. Might have got a few tips from some of the Mets pitchers down there in the clubhouse before coming out. The buzz around the batting cage tonight, and I know the players have said 6 games is too much. You know, let's get the weekend over with. It's for the fans, and it is for the fans. But once the game starts, I don't care if these teams are playing the Fort Wayne Daisies. They're going to get pumped up with the crowd atmosphere here tonight.
You know, Kitty, years ago they had the Mayor's Trophy game here, and I was fortunate enough to play in 2 of them. And those games meant nothing at all. They were played in the middle of the season. And I can remember playing one at Yankee Stadium and one here at Shea. The crowds, it was packed at both places. And although the games didn't mean anything at all, as a member of the Mets, I really wanted to beat the Yankees. And because you've never got a shot at them, and you probably wouldn't during the postseason, it didn't happen.
Yeah, once that umpire throws out the first ball in the rosin bag, your competitive instincts take over, and then you forget that, well, you know, 6 interleague games is too many. The Mets, for example, they say, hey, we have to play the Yankees 6 times. the Braves only play him 3 times, and the Yankees probably saying we'd rather play the Red Sox 3 more times.
Yeah, one thing I can remember about those games, I remember hitting a triple at Yankee Stadium, and you know who had to run it down? Bobby Mercer.
Remind him of that. 99. That was a good year in 99 for Jeff Van Gundy. Chairman of the board is here, Whitey Ford. Yeah, I guess this Subway Series brings out everybody. So Jeff Van Gundy will throw out the ceremonial first pitch.
See, this is one guy that everybody can cheer for.
Right. A nice moment for Jeff Van Gundy, who all the fans here, you could tell by the ovation, they appreciated the job he did this year with the New York Knicks.
And it became quite popular as the playoffs went along in the situation that with the Knicks, and you know, the fans chanting at the Garden, bring back Jeff and all that sort of thing. And you know, a lot of Knicks fans here tonight.
Well, you hear the crowd in the background as the Mets take the field. The Mets at one time, as Al Leiter strides to the mound, had gone 38 straight games without giving up an unearned run. So their fielding ability, as you see Joe Torre, who does this so well, regardless of whether it's the 7th game of the World Series or opening day, he's going to do whatever he can to keep his team relaxed. There you see Leiter's numbers, but that's deceptive. Because in our open, we mentioned 5-1 with an earned run average of 2.90 in the month of June. Good strikeout walk ratio. I would call him somewhat of a power pitcher. When he was in the American League, he tended to pitch inside, time after time, and American League hitters solved that. Let's check out the lineup the Yankees have tonight. Remember, no designated hitter. Lineup brought to you by Chevrolet, the cars more Americans trust. Chuck Knobloch, Derek Jeter, and Paul O'Neill at the top. Then Bernie Williams, Scott Brocious is batting 5th tonight against the left-handed Leiter. Tino Martinez drops down to 6th. Bottom 3rd, Posada Curtis, and we'll get to see Roger Clemens swing the bat.
Continental Airlines defensive lineup for the New York Mets tonight. Ventura, Ordonez, Alfonso, and Olerud. A very good infield. Henderson, McRae, and Cedeno in the outfield. Mike Piazza doing the catching for Al Leiter. The reason why you have Robin Ventura highlighted, originally he was not supposed to be in the lineup, but he came out and took batting practice, and the former Rawlings Gold Glove third baseman from the American League will be in there tonight. He has a bruised left big toe. He was hit by a pitch during the series against the Montreal Expos, but he'll be in there tonight. I guess he didn't want to miss the start of this big series.
No, I don't think he did, and he has had success. Very few hitters can say this against Roger Clemens, and the Met infield has been spectacular. Along with Ventura, Ordonez, Alfonso, and Olerud, they have made only 17 errors as a group. You compare that to the Yankees, and Chuck Knobloch in your picture there. The main reason the Yankees have committed 38, more than twice as many errors. And the hostile, primarily a hostile crowd. Still a lot of Yankee fans here, but Chuck Knobloch hears it as he steps in. He is wearing the protective guard on the elbow after being hit by Doug Brocail in Tuesday night's game at Tiger Stadium. Inside, ball 1.
Well, he wore that guard for a while last year after being hit twice by Chad O.J., who's now with the Philadelphia Phillies. O.J. was at Cleveland at the time. But Chuck doesn't like to wear that. And I guess when it starts to feel a lot better, he'll discard it.
Good for him. That's inside. This has always been Leiter's pitching pattern. Inside, inside. In fact, in the past, similar to what Andy Pettitte is going through. A lot of cutters inside, and he's trying to figure out a way to establish the outside part of the plate as well. 82 degrees at game time here at Shea. Inside again, and the count goes to 3-0.
Also, one of the problems that Leiter has had during his career is the base on balls. From time to time, his control will desert him, but in recent years, he's been a lot better than he was early when he was with the Yankees, and then had some problems with the Marlins too.
In for a strike. Al won his first game as a Yankee. That was back in 1987. He is a very emotional guy, as well as Clemens is. And I think right now you see him almost trying to really key himself down. Relax as much as possible. That's inside, and Knobloch draws a leadoff walk. Check out the scouting report on Al Leiter.
Great slider, as Kitty mentioned. Right-handed batters look inside, and he wants to prove that the first time was no fluke. That win over at Yankee Stadium on June the 6th.
That's when Leiter went 7 innings, gave up 1 run. Jeter with a greeting of, you think there are any young ladies in the stands flashing a picture right now trying to get Piazza and Jeter in the same shot as Derek and Mike, 2 All-Stars?
Most of the guys are booing, though.
First pitch, swinging strike. You call this on the road for the Yankees, even though it is in New York. Jeter, a .410 hitter on the road. That's the best road batting average in baseball. Unusual alignment. The Mets employ this. I'll tell you, it makes it very tough on a pitcher, I think, as Jeter fouls it out of play, because if all of a sudden you decided as a pitcher that Knobloch had too big a lead, you can't throw over there. I mean, you can step off, but sometimes I think deviating from the norm can be counterproductive.
Either that, if you throw over there, you're going to have to hit a moving target, which makes it even more difficult. Although Olerud's an excellent first baseman, still, you got to trust your stuff to make a good throw to first.
See, now he was breaking back, and the ball came to home plate. Jeter fouled it off 0-2. It's kind of like Woody Hayes, the ex-Ohio State football coach, the late Woody Hayes, said with a forward pass, 3 things happen, 2 of them are bad, intercepted or incomplete. Same thing with that kind of alignment. Once in a while, you might pick somebody off, but you might throw it wildly or commit a balk. Up and in to Jeter, 1-2.
My point on that would be, why don't you hold the guy on anyway? Because as soon as the pitcher delivers the ball to the plate, you move to your right, you close up the hole. If you're going to move over and try and bluff him back, you're opening the hole up again. Why not stay at first base? See, the hole opens.
Right. See, Keith Hernandez, who played right here in this ballpark, part of their World Championship team, was so good at straddling the bag and then breaking off with the pitch. The banner indicating the 1986 World Champs.
See the hole open?
Yeah, he moves back, and if Jeter shoots that ball to right field at that time, Olerud is actually moving back toward first base, and as Kenny said, it opens up the hole. It might look unusual and work once in a while, but I can only speak from a pitcher's standpoint. It would be very distracting. And Olerud, like Tino Martinez's counterpart, has improved greatly.
He's got a bigger lead than Knobloch.
Maybe he'll try to steal. Inside, 2-2.
Jeter 9 for his last 23, and he always seems to be on some sort of hitting streak. Right now it's only at 3 games.
Block back in plenty of time. Actually, I can picture a base thief like Ricky Henderson, Joe Morgan, Lou Brock. When Olerud moves back and they take off, they might get to second base before he even makes the throw. That's the way they used to steal bases. On the go and fouled out of play. And again, as the pitch headed for home, Olerud was moving back to the bag, which really opens up that hole between first and second. But the pattern here has been, watch right here.
Pitch is headed home. Olerud headed back to first. The hole opens up right there.
Yeah, where you drew the line is where you normally would be as a first baseman if you broke off with the pitch.
That's going to come back to haunt him sometime. I don't know if it'll be tonight, but sometime down the line. If it
Tough start for Leiter. Of course, these signs are thrown in from the bench. A lot of times a game like this, a pitcher left to his own devices would say, I want to get some outs. I want to get the ball going toward home. And the constant throws to first sometimes just disrupt your rhythm even more. Got him. Good fastball. Jeter down on strikes. Let's look at how Al Leiter attacked Derek Jeter.
We're going to look at the first pitch here, and it seemed to be something out over the plate. Then a cutter down and in, fouled off, fouled back, 1-2, up and in. Jeter fouls off another one, having a pretty good at-bat. That will level the count off until this pulls another one. Then another throw to first, which is about the fourth one. Then he finally put him away on the high fastball.
So Jeter down on strikes. O'Neill will step in. Knobloch on the run. He's in there with a head-first slide. Make that stolen base number 15 for Knobloch.
Piazza gets a pretty good pitch to throw on. He steps into it, gets a pretty good throw down to second, but I think Knobloch had too much of a jump. Knobloch leads the team in steals. Now watch it. As he got the great jump, takes a look back to see what happened with the pitch, and on into second with the stolen base.
I would think we would see a lot more of that from the Yankees tonight. They have not stolen this year as much as they tried in previous years, but with Clemens the hitter, no DH, you would think Joe Torre would use the running game a little bit more. That throw of Piazza, the look at it, Kenny points out, is similar to the problems Chuck Knobloch is having. Throwing for a catcher revolves around a lot of good footwork, and he never got his feet in proper position there. 1-ball count to O'Neill. Outside, 2-0, and Leiter has fallen behind most of the hitters here. Just one out, and he's had to throw a ton of pitches on a sticky night. Paul's always done well at Shea Stadium. That goes back to his days with the Cincinnati Reds. Up the middle. Ordonez to the knees and throws out O'Neill as Knobloch advances to third.
Well, just an example of what Ray Ordonez means to this Mets infield. Another acrobatic play, goes down on one knee, up quickly, strong arm throw to first base. First of all, he robs O'Neill of a base hit. He's on the second base side of second and then makes the play. Quick steps to the left, down, up. He's unbelievable.
What fans might wonder, why would he slide? What that does, I think, for him is he's able to stop himself, get up and throw. If he didn't slide, he'd keep running into right field and maybe not get the footwork.
It's almost as if he uses the ground as a trampoline situation, push him right back up again.
Bernie Williams in the all-star numbers. That's where he'll be headed Tuesday night at Fenway Park. Inside for a ball. Bernie got last night off. A rare rest for him. And that means there is only one Yankee who has started every ball game, and there he is. He hit 6 tonight, Tino Martinez. Third base. Ventura, the sure-handed Gold Glover, is there to Olerud. Leiter pitches around the leadoff walk. The Yankees go scoreless. The Rocket, Roger Clemens, heads to the mound at Shea when we come back. All right, welcome back to Queens. Beautiful sunset here and a nice warm, though compared to the last week, comfortable summer evening. Roger Clemens, and I think in general, you look at his record, it doesn't look that bad, but I think in general most New York Yankee fans are still looking for the Roger Clemens of the last 2 years to really step up and be a dominant pitcher. Here's the lineup that he'll face tonight. Posted by Bobby Valentine. Brought to you by Genuine Chevrolet, the cars more Americans trust. All-time greatest leadoff hitter in baseball history, Ricky Henderson leads it off. Then Edgardo Alfonso, John Olerud, Mike Piazza, Robin Ventura, the bottom half, Brian McRae, Roger Cedeno leads the world in stolen bases, Ray Ordonez, and Al Leiter.
Continental Alliance defensive lineup for the New York Yankees. The infield, very familiar. Brocious, Jeter, Knobloch, and Martinez. In the outfield, Curtis, Williams, and O'Neill, with Jorge Posada doing the catching for the Rockets tonight. Well, unlike Detroit, Paul O'Neill will not have to deal with fans out in right field here at Shea Stadium. The only thing he'll have to deal with is the Mets bullpen. And I don't know how much they will get on him, but certainly a lot less than the fans did in Detroit. They were brutal.
Oh, I chat with Paul about it before the game, and he said, you know, I hear all the general taunts, but when they start getting into in some of the language, he said, with little league teams, he tried to get the usher there to stop it. Wouldn't do anything about it. There's Clemens' line as the first pitch is low for a ball. Now, Roger, more than a hit per inning, and he's already given up more home runs, 10 this year, than all of last year. Henderson just under 300. Fouled off to the right side, a ball and a strike.
Henderson's hitting 18 of his last 23. He's gotten his seasonal average up to 298. Sounds like Ricky's trying to turn back the clock. He's got 22 stolen bases. He's in the top 10 in the league.
I think he loves this role, too, being a veteran and working with a young base stealer like Roger Cedeno. Ball 2, said home plate umpire Charlie Relaford. Clemens looked in and wondered where it was. I mean, Posada dropped the ball, but it looked like it was right down the middle, and Roger quickly questioned it.
Well, let's take a look for ourselves. The target is kind of low inside, and the pitch is right to the target.
Yeah. Well above the knees. Was it inside? No. I can see why Clemens looked in. Charlie Relaford, the home plate umpire. In for a strike. Count level at 2-2.
Well, you mentioned Ricky, probably the greatest all-time leadoff hitter. And I got to agree with you. There have been some pretty good ones. Lou Brock, maybe Bobby Bonds had some power, but none with the combination.
No combination of power, speed, and the ability to draw walks. See there, the count has gone to 3-2 again. And that is the toughest leadoff hitter for a pitcher to face. You love a guy to lead off that you could say, here it is, hit it. It won't go out of the ballpark, just to get the game going. You can't do that with Henderson. Stays alive, fouling off the full count pitch. Speaking of Charlie Relaford, here's the rest of the umpires, brought to you by NAM, National Arbitration and Mediation, most timely, cost-effective way to settle your legal disputes. Sam Holbrook, Jeff Kellogg, and Dana DeMuth, the crew chief, over at third base. Up the middle, Jeter will not be able to get that one, and Henderson has a leadoff single.
One reason you get to be such a good hitter, you have a good eye, as Ricky Henderson does. You get a pitcher in a situation 3-2. He has to throw you a strike, and Roger Clemens catches a lot of plate, and Ricky will hit this one right back where it came from. Watch Roger Clemens as he delivers the ball, and what he does when the ball's headed by him. We've seen him try this.
Yeah.
He pulled that hand kind of back. I don't want to deal with that one.
The instincts tell you go for the ball, but boy, you get one off the tip of a finger, you'll be sitting on the bench on the disabled list. Here's Edgardo Alfonso, an ideal number 2 hitter. That pitch high for a ball. One of the better 2 strike hitters, and of course the Mets, in addition to being good in the field, lead the National League in drawing walks.
They are leading the National League, and the Yankees are third in the American League. So 2 teams very good, particularly got hitters like Ricky Henderson going deep into the counts, making the starting pitcher work. That's been the Yankee trademark over the last 2 or 3 years, and certainly the Mets are trying to follow in their footsteps and put pressure on the starting pitchers.
Outstanding third baseman for the Mets, and he made the transition over to second base this year with Ventura coming on. There's the The quick move of Roger Clemens for a big man. Clemens has quick feet, and he almost got Henderson.
I think Ricky was thinking about going. You see that last step? He was ready to accelerate and to throw it. This is an experienced base runner, though. Maybe, of course, the best of all time as far as stolen bases are concerned.
What makes Ricky so good, in addition to his speed, is his arrogance. You have to be arrogant. And I've heard Brock and Joe Morgan, guys like that. You have to dare the pitcher. You can't be afraid of getting picked off on occasion. And you have to play with his mind, and that's what Henderson does.
And that's what he's tried to teach to Roger Cedeno, who is leading the major leagues in steals with 43. Don't be afraid.
Outside corner. Ball and a strike to Alfonso. Edgardo, native of Venezuela, and most of our, as kids, our dads encouraged us to play baseball. Talking with Edgardo as Olerud waits on deck, his dad discouraged he and his older brother, didn't want him to play. But eventually his older brother became a pretty good player, taught Edgardo how to play, and I think his dad's pretty happy right now.
I think he would be too. Anytime Ricky Henderson gets on, you have to pay attention to him. He's stolen 22 out of 30 this year. Still a pretty good percentage.
In the air to right, playable. O'Neill is there. First out in the Mets first.
Alfonso's, one of the keys to the Mets is, I think, his ability to shift from third base to second. I'll talk about that a little bit later when they're in the field.
Olerud steps in. If you have a youngster at home and you want to teach him the fundamentals of hitting, this wouldn't be a bad model. John, from the time he's come up out of Washington State to Toronto, has had a quiet body and quiet hands, and that just gives you a better chance of making good contact. Inside, ball one. Toronto encouraged him to try to pull the ball more because of his size, but he's a much better hitter just using the whole field.
First of all, to be a good hitter, you got to swing at strikes, and he has a very good batting eye. He's always up among the league leaders in walks, third in the American League in walks, great on-base percentage. See how Tino holds the runner on. It's completely different than the way Olerud does. Then Tino Martinez will break to his right to try and close up as much as that hole as possible. Now, more balls will be hit to his right than will be to his left. So that's why I feel like you got to be going to your right after the ball is released by the pitcher.
And Kenny, of course, comparing Tino getting off first to what the Mets do with Olerud. They start him about where Ricky Henderson is, and he gets caught breaking the other way. Gets by Posada. Jorge came up on that one. It got through the wickets, and Henderson advances to second.
Now, I believe this is going to be called a wild pitch, but I think it was definitely a stoppable ball. Well, the ball hit in the dirt, so I'll say that is a wild pitch.
It's wild because it hit the dirt, but if you looked at the technique, and I think Jorge feels the same thing, he backhanded it, and his body never went down, his body came up. And again, I think that's the Henderson factor. I think catchers are so conscious of getting into throwing position that sometimes they do it prematurely. 3-0 to Olerud, and I think Jorge's trip to the mound is to remind Clemens he'll probably be hitting if he gets one he likes. At the knees, strike one. There's the batting leaders, and you see two of the top four members of the Mets, Olerud and Cedeno, getting on base. And he's on there again. He draws a one-out walk, and Clemens off to a sluggish start here in inning number one. Now Mike Piazza steps in with two on. This is what happened back at Yankee Stadium.
Piazza, great extension on the swing. And anytime he gets those arms extended, he can hit the ball a long way. He's hit a ball out of Dodger Stadium. It's only been done by Willie Stargell. Stargell did it twice. Mike Piazza's the only other player that hit one out of Dodger Stadium.
There's the all-star numbers. High again with the breaking ball. Roger very tentative here in the first inning. He doesn't have that look of I'm going to run it right down your throat. Granted, you respect hitters, but you can't be awed by them. And the Mets fans getting into it early. Fourth hitter Clemens has faced, and all four have started with ball one. Toward third, Brocious. Could be. Now block. Accurate throw. Piazza, who does that a great deal, hitting into double plays, and Clemens gets out of it. 2 on, they don't score. We've played 1 scoreless at Shea.
If you can't get enough Yankee baseball, there's only one place to be. No one brings you Yankee baseball like MSG.
Are you one of the millions of American males who would like increased sexual energy? If you've been considering Viagra as a solution, consider something different. All natural Enerx. Clinical studies show various...
New York Yankee baseball brought to you in part by Ford Cars and Trucks, built for the way you live. And by American Express. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, American Express helps you do more. Both pitchers wriggle out of a jam. Clemens getting Piazza to hit into the league-leading 15th double play, and Brocious will step in. And again, inside for a ball. Both pitchers having difficulty getting strike one.
Only the second time this year that Brocious has batted as high as 5th in the order.
2-0. We talked on the pregame show about how the Mets' year began to turn around, unfortunately for the departed coaches. And the pitching coach, Bob Apodaca, was replaced. That ball is inside. Chance to ask Al Leiter about that. And he has great respect for Apodaca's ability as a nuts and bolts. You know, your shoulders flying open, or your elbows too low, or you're not gripping the ball properly. That's in for a strike. But the feel of the game, and we'll talk a little bit during this game of how Tom Seaver influenced Roger Clemens in that regard. He said, you know, sometimes as a pitching coach, a pitcher has a bad day, you just go and say, hey, the sun will come up tomorrow, don't worry about it. Go home and enjoy your dinner. And you can't constantly smother them with mechanical information, and that seemed to be the one thing that Al City was missing. And of course, since then, he's 5-1 and was the National League Pitcher of the Month. And he had great respect for Apodaca. That's just one skill that evidently Bob was missing in imparting to the Mets. Fouled straight back, and the count full to Brocious. Tino Martinez waits on deck, as Al Troutwig pointed out on our scorecard show. Tino hit his first home run off a left-hand pitcher last night in Detroit, off C.J. Nitkowski. Fouled again, and the count will hold 3-2.
If nothing else, Brocious is making Leiter work to the first hitter of the inning. Now he's thrown at least 7 pitches here.
Now the start that both of these pitchers are having would indicate the game will be in the hands of the bullpen. It usually is, but it might be there a little earlier. And both these teams, particularly the Mets, have outstanding bullpens. Popped up, foul territory, near the Met dugout, and Olerud now just outside the coaching box, puts it away, 1 down.
We'll take a look at the delivery of Al Leiter, and Kitty, I'll let you break it down.
Well, what the pitching coaches constantly try to do is get the arm right up here on top, which Leiter did a good job right there. Sometimes it sneaks down a little bit too low. You drop down. From a left-hand pitcher standpoint, it's going to sail high and away to a lefty. It's not, you almost want the feeling, as that pitch misses for a ball, you almost want the feeling as a pitcher that you're going to clip yourself in the ear or near the ear. It'll never happen, but that's the feeling you want to get on top of the ball. 2-0. Well, let's check out last night in our Corona Extra effort.
And for Tino Martinez, this is career home run number 199 and his 21st that he's hit at Tiger Stadium. So there's a guy who might hate to see Tiger Stadium go.
That was the difference, as the Yankees won that game 3-2. Breaking ball in, 2-1.
Yankees have been hot on the road. They've won 8 of their last 9 and 17 of their last 22 away from Yankee Stadium. This is about as close as they can get without being at Yankee Stadium.
Way inside. And it's 3-1.
And still be on the road.
Posada waiting on deck will hit from the right side of the plate tonight.
That last pitch was a 90-mile-an-hour fastball that moved Tino off the plate.
Off-speed pitch behind in the count, and a good one. Olerud will win the race to the bag, and a sign of a big improvement in Al Leiter. Got Martinez to chase a changeup on a 3-1 count. Two-way here in the Yankees second. Let's check out our Marriott Marquee pitching matchup, matching up these starters. 483 career starts. That's Clemens' record. And Al Leiter, in 187 starts, has won 84. Most of your Hall of Fame pitchers will win about 50 to 55% of their starts. And you can see Clemens just over 50% of his. Outside to Posada, and again he starts a hitter with ball 1. Chile will sit and cheerlead with Joe Girardi tonight. Toward third, Ventura, nice pick to Olerud. The outstanding Mets defense in the infield shows off again, and Leiter appreciates it. Yankees down in the second. We head to the Mets half when we come back on MSG. Score, we head to the bottom of the second. Though both pitchers have labored in the early part of this one, Robin Ventura didn't think he'd be playing tonight, possibly because of this.
Let's go back to the series against the Expos. Looked like a breaking ball down and in for Mike Smith, and right on the left big toe. And that is painful. You can see tonight, usually a hitter will wear a guard on his front leg. But Ventura has it on his back leg. That's unusual. Usually you're trying to guard against the foul balls off the front foot.
Outside corner, catches at the knees. There's the protective. That's to protect that toe that Kenny was talking about. That's where he was hit in the Montreal series. Count is 1-1. Fouled out of play, and I think it's the first time Clemens has been ahead 1 ball 2 strikes. All 5 Mets hitters have started with ball 1.
Rockets had some problems in the first inning this year. Then he seems to right himself from that point on. That's just the plane taking off. That's not the
rocket.
That's not the effect of this fastball.
Inside 2-2. You can almost see by the body language. He's shaking his head. He's a little deliberate. He's taking a long look in at Jorge Posada. When you think of your great pitchers in the Hall of Fame, or headed as Clemens is, they usually have a much quicker pace. They're much more confident in what they want to throw, and they go ahead and throw it. Grounded towards short. Jeter is there on the high hop, and he tosses out Ventura, 1 away in the Mets second.
He made a good pitch to Ventura there. He took something off on that last pitch. A good breaking ball to the outside corner. All Ventura could do was flip the bat at it. There's the motion, Kenny. You can see how he squares up to the target. Even infielders have to do that.
Again, you can see what it's kind of the L factor. That's where you want your arm, and that's what Clemens does. Beautiful right there, striding straight toward the target. And you'll never see a power pitcher that doesn't make a good hip turn and have strong legs. And of course, Roger had that from his days in Texas. Certainly has put a lot more muscle on since then. McRae fouls that out of play. That's strike 1. This has been an area where the Mets would like to strengthen themselves. On the corner, 0-2. Their outfield not particularly good with the gloves on, and not as productive as you'd like to have, say, for example, from Bernie Williams and Paul O'Neill. And I thought when McRae came up, he had a great teacher at home in Hal McRae, though his dad Hal will say his mother saw him play more than I did. I was off playing baseball myself. inside 1 and 2, but he looked like with his speed and everything, he's going to be a much more productive hitter.
Ability to get on base and steal bases, I think would have been more so, but he's done pretty good against Roger Clemens.
Average over 300. Left field line slicing, but it is going to stay in play. Curtis will chase it down, and McRae will have a 1-out double.
Well, early this year they were talking about that Brian McRae wasn't long for the New York Mets. But right here he comes through for the team in Queens. As he hits one off the end of the bat, drives it down the left field line. It's going to be Chad Curtis who will prevent this from getting to the corner. But Brian McRae, almost said how. Brian McRae with his 10th double of the year.
Cedeno, what a pickup he has been. The trade the Mets made with the Dodgers, 3-way deal. In the air to center, fairly deep, but Bernie Williams will have room, and he'll put it away, 2 down.
Yeah, he has come out of nowhere, speaking of Cedeno, to lead in major leagues in stolen bases with 43. And what really impresses me is his on-base percentage. This is his breakout year in the major leagues.
Bobby Valentine, speaking with us on the pregame show, was pretty pumped about this series, how good it is for baseball. He did not refer, as some of the players did, to the woes of playing the Yankees 6 times. Up the middle. McRae with a late start. Here comes Bernie. No throw to home. And the Mets take the lead 1-0.
Well, at one time there was talk of Ray Ordonez maybe going to the All-Star game. But now he's just 3 for his last 25 as he shoots one by Roger Clemens. His average is up near 300. Dropped into the 270s, but he comes through here and scores Brian McRae with the first run of the game. With 2 outs, of course, you're off and running. There's the base hit. And Brian runs a lot like his dad did.
A little bit of a limp there. Here's Leiter. As Clemens throws ball 1, and I'm sure, there are some inside baseball fans that are saying, wait a minute, McRae is on second, first base open, the pitcher hitting next. Why didn't you walk Ordonez? If you're Roger Clemens, you don't have to mess around with Ray Ordonez and walk him. Maybe if it's the 8th inning or something like that, you have to have more confidence in your stuff than that. 2-0.
But why do you throw him a fastball right down the chute? You start him off with a couple of breaking balls.
It's a mentality, and I think Joe Torre would experience that as a catcher. I always felt like with the number 8 hitter, I'm going to get you out so I can get the pitcher leading off. But he left that fastball out over the middle of the plate. That's in for a strike. Still looking for the real rocket. We've seen it a couple of times, but again off to a rather tentative start. 2-2 now to Leiter. Here's the pitch to Ordonez with a man on second.
This is what I'm talking about, and Kitty mentioned the pitcher is up next. Fastball is right there. I mean, central, all central. And he just drills it into center field for a base hit. I mean, even number 8 hitters can hit a pitch like that.
But not number 9 hitters. And Leiter down on strikes. Mets draw first blood. We've played 2 at Shea. McRae's double, Ordonez single. Gives them a 1-0 lead. Back after this.
Piazza, Williams, Olerud, Jeter. The Yanks battle the rival New York Mets after New York Marriott Marquis Scorecard. Sunday on MSG.
Some private lost 3 of his brothers, and he's got a ticket home.
It's not going to be easy finding one particular soldier in the whole damn war.
In the last great invasion of the last great war, the greatest danger for 8 men was saving 1. Tom Hanks, Edward Burns, Tom Sizemore, Matt Damon, Saving Private Ryan, a film by Steven Spielberg.
Playing this month on DirecTV.
Attraction has never been this obvious.
What are you doing? That caviar is a garnish.
Electricity this evident.
She's beautiful, but she's a pill. I brought you flowers.
Oh.
Or love this close, without either person even knowing it. Tom Hanks, Meg Ryan, you've got mail.
Those are very powerful words.
Yes.
Playing this month on Direct Ticket, only on Direct TV.
Dr. Henry Jekyll was about to start a new career.
Where's the doctor?
Until a moment of fate
Either you help my friend or you become a patient.
changed his destiny. Now, with the help of a master,
I will help you find the killers.
the Western doctor must learn the Eastern ways. From executive producer Francis Ford Coppola, a Direct TV world premiere exclusive from Action Adventure Network. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, now showing only on Direct TV.
New York Yankee Interleague Baseball is brought to you in part by Payne Weber. Thank you, Payne Weber, for the advice. And by Telligent, bringing small and mid-sized companies local, long-distance, and high-speed internet, all from one company and all on one bill. Who is that masked man?
Well, right now we're going to see an unmasked man at the plate. It's going to be Chad Curtis. He's going to lead it off against Al Leiter here in the top of the third inning. Yankees down by a run. There's that cutter or slider down and in for a ball. Chad Curtis, who's gotten some starts out of left field with the absence of Shane Spencer, who is now undergoing further testing to see when he can get back in the lineup. A pumped atmosphere here at Shea Stadium. Way inside, and Curtis has to jackknife to get out of the way. 2 balls and no strikes. Curtis .220 on the year. He has 4 homers, 14 runs batted in. Between the airplanes flying overhead and the crowd here at Shea, which should be around 50,000, it's going to be a loud night here in Queens. 2-0 pitch is pumped in there for a call strike, 2-1.
I've heard this statement before, and I'm not sure I always understand it, Kenny, when you hear they talk about teams. Well, they're playing, instead of playing to win, they're playing not to lose, that type of thing. And I've never understood exactly what that is.
Another pitch inside, 3-1.
But what I sense tonight from both these pitchers, and one is a definite Hall of Famer, is they're pitching not to let the hitter hit the ball instead of making them hit the ball. And both these guys have good enough stuff to try to make the hitters put the ball in play.
Leiter behind on the count, 3-1. And that's inside. It's a leadoff walk. So we have Roger Clemens coming to the plate in an interesting situation. It's a sacrifice bunt situation. Before Roger Clemens comes to the plate, let's go down to our Matt Laughlin.
All right, well, we're joined by Lindsay Davenport, who is the Wimbledon champion. She's still coming down off that high of last week, and congratulations, Lindsay. What does it all mean for you?
It was just a kind of incredible 2 weeks, winning my second Grand Slam, but winning Wimbledon, the biggest tournament in the world, and just having a week here in New York to enjoy it.
Well, she's also enjoying the game because you have a little connection with the Yankees. You have a friend who's in the relief corps.
Yeah, I got to know one of the relief pitchers, Dan Nolte, last winter, and I met all the Yankees at the ESPYs, and they're all really nice, seem like tennis fans, and so I've really followed them now for about 2 years and enjoyed every minute.
So Dan Nolte was watching her win Wimbledon, and she's here hoping that the Yankees come away with the win, fellas.
All right, thanks, Matt. Roger Clemens squares, takes a pitch up high for a ball. Of course, Lindsay Davenport's victory over at in England was against Steffi Graf.
Well, that was she put on quite a performance. This is what, if you're Roger Clemens, you work on a lot in the spring training and you get to do about twice a year. So when you do, you hope you do it properly.
Well, he's had 1 sacrifice bunt in his career, and the Yankees are hoping it could be 2 after this at-bat. He's ahead on the count, 1 ball and no strikes.
Oops.
Tried to jab at it and missed it, and it's a ball and a strike.
And even though you say, well, pitchers should bunt, that's what Kenny talked about a year ago. When you don't play every 4 days, that's why I'm not a big fan of the DH. I know Chili Davis is, but when you're not out there and in the rhythm of game and you get called on, it's like not playing golf for a week and then somebody says, go make this 6-foot putt to win the tournament. You know, you haven't played.
Well, this is where I feel that the American League is really at a disadvantage in these games. That pitch is down low, 2-1.
Well, there's no doubt the National League has the edge in both ways because of the pitchers hitting here, and the Yankees used to having Chili Davis, and when they play in the American League parks, the hitters get the extra. Chili's showing Hideki, in case you have to bunt Sunday, this is how you do it.
Hideki got that bunt down in Montreal last year that was amazing. There's a bunt, but it's foul, and it's 2 balls and 2 strikes on the Rocket.
The Roger is trying to push the ball, and the best instructors I had for bunting would be, imagine, speaking of Lindsey Davenport, imagine that you had a tennis racket.
Yeah.
A tennis racket right there, and you were going to catch the ball on the strings. You weren't going to jab at it. You were just going to catch it and let it bounce off the strings. That's how to bunt properly.
2-2 the count. The Rocket is already squared around. It's the bunt down, and it's a good one. Curtis will move to second on the sacrifice with 2 strikes by Roger Clemens. 3 times was the charm. So the Rocket gets the runner across. And the Yankees have moved the tying run into scoring position.
Let's see what the technique is here. See, the barrel's in good shape. He doesn't jab at that one. He leaves the bat. He lets the ball hit the bat. And actually, with 2 strikes, a very, very good pitch to bunt. Most of the time, pitchers will try to make you bunt that pitch up around the shoulder. So Clemens got a good pitch to bunt and executed it perfectly.
Now the lineup will turn over as we watch the Rocket. The play went 3-4, by the way, as Alfonso covered it first, and you can see the glad handing for the Rocket as he gets the job done. Curtis out at second for Chuck Knobloch, who drew a walk and stole second in the first inning. Now the Yankee fans starting to come alive here at Shea. The first pitch to Knobloch is inside for ball 1. It is a packed house here at Shea Stadium, opening game of this weekend series between the New York Yankees and the New York Mets. Knobloch rips one into the seats, foul. Wow. That is a tough souvenir.
That's a result, Kenny, of second time around. The Yankees have sat and watched Leiter work through the order, and where have most of the pitches been? Inside half. You got experienced players like Knobloch are saying, okay, you're going to keep coming in there, we'll get ready for it.
Chuck Knobloch on a 4-game hitting streak is 5 for his last 12. His average has been creeping up in the right direction, nearing the 270 mark now at 267. Little look towards Chad Curtis at second, nothing doing. That's what Knobloch has done against Leiter in the past. Just 1 homer, but the average way down at 188. Up and in. Straightens Knobloch up, and the count will go to 2 balls and a strike.
This interleague play, Kenny, the scouting reports, I don't know how many games they see the Yankees play, but we're accustomed to seeing Chuck Knobloch, center fielders over here, right fielders near the line, swing him way around the right. They almost play him like a pull hitter. Cedeno is well off the line, and McRae on the left field side of center.
Maybe that's Leiter's pitching in.
That could be.
Bouncing ball towards the middle by Alfonso into center field for a base hit. Curtis rounding third. He'll score. And this ball game is all tied up on a base hit by Chuck Knobloch. Well, you go back to the sacrifice by the Rocket, helping himself out, moving Curtis into scoring position.
All those leadoff walks. Piazza wanted it outside. It got up in the strike zone. Knobloch hit down on it, and Leiter just missed it. And no one more satisfied with that run scoring than Roger Clemens because of what you mentioned. As a pitcher now, you're responsible for helping your team score 1 run.
Here's Derek Jeter. Knobloch has already stolen 1 base. Jeter with a slow roller towards third. Nice play by Ventura. They'll only get 1 as Knobloch is forced at second. Man, Ventura is sure-handed around it. We're going to see some good third basing in this series by Brocious and Ventura.
Well, on the pregame show, we had a shot at Don Zimmer hitting a home run. He was a member of the Dodgers. Of course, Zim was the first third baseman the Mets ever had, and they have gone through a ton of them. But they got one of the best right now in Ventura. He could stay there for quite some time.
And Zim didn't have that little pronounced limp back in those days when he was playing third for the Mets. Here's Paul O'Neill with Jeter at first base and 2 down. O'Neill in 4 for 12 on this road trip. Was robbed of a hit on a nice play by Ordonez in the first inning. And that moves him off the plate. Ball 1. You know, you can tell how many Yankee fans are in the park. When Curtis was rounded third, the decibel level went up quite high. So there's quite a few Yankee fans here.
There again is that unusual alignment. Jose Cardinal just went over and pointed out to Jeter where the outfielders were. But as you see it, if Olerud breaks toward the bag with a left-hand hitter in there, again, this gives O'Neill a much bigger hole.
That'll be a call strike, 1-1. O'Neill looking for something he can drive. Drives this one towards Ordonez. Down on one knee again. Turns and flips to Alfonso for the force on Jeter. Another slick play by the Mets shortstop. But the Yankees come up with a run here in the top of the third and at the end of 2.5. At Shea, it's 1-1.
First, Europe's most coveted design award. Now, honored as the highest quality luxury sedan in America. The Volvo S80. My goodness.
Till I turn you on, I'll give you the horn.
The Royale on park, please. Thank you.
Hi, Joe Torre here. Please,
Joe
buckle your
Torre
seatbelt.
is Yankees. Yankees this, the Yankees that. I'm sick of the dang Yankees. Last year was a total fluke. Atlanta Braves team of the decade. Yankees suck. Here we are. I'll see you in October, son. Honey, you look lost.
So we have no digital equipment, no integrated systems. We can't even fax a piece of paper. We got nothing.
Well, I'd still love to work with you. Here's the contract.
Oh, great.
If business were that easy, you wouldn't need us. Update your office technology with MCS Canon.
Kids go through a lot of phases. My Joey's in the push-button phase. Phone, remote, calculator, you name it, he pushes it.
But with her Ford Windstar, Maria's in control. Now she pushes the buttons. And thanks to dual remote sliding doors, the kids hop right in. Plus, Windstar has a 5-star government crash test rating. And now you can buy one with 0-9 financing or get $1,000 cash back.
Of course, this is still my favorite button.
Ford Windstar, built to last. Built for the way you live.
Ricky Henderson coming to the plate for the second time. Had a base hit back in the first inning. 20th year in the major leagues. And a future Hall of Famer. Clemens' first pitch is in the dirt for ball 1.
Speaking of Hall of Famers, Kenny, it is ironic here in this first game to have Roger Clemens on the mound and Tom Seaver, a Hall of Famer, doing a broadcast on the Mets network about 2 booths down from us. There is quite a connection between those two.
Swing and a miss on a fastball, and the count levels off at a ball and a strike. Now, I know they're both power pitchers.
Ooh, I'll say. When I went into Boston in the mid-'80s, I was going to do a game where Clemens was pitching. You see the retired number with 41 on the board. Ralph Houck was the manager at the time of the Red Sox.
Good curveball for a strike.
And the major called me in and he said the kid pitching today is the best pitching prospect I've seen since Tom Seaver. And when you think about it, from 69 to 99, Nolan Ryan has the no-hitters, but these are the two guys, both 520-game seasons, that have been the dominant right-hand power pitchers in Major League Baseball. Their totals at this particular time, if you look at this period in Tom's career, as he looks in from the Channel 11 booth, he had 245 wins. Clemens has 241. Their statistics very, very similar. Of course, Tom went on to win 311 games and the highest vote ever going into the Hall of Fame, highest percentage.
And it appears that the Rocket is on his way to 300 as well. 2-2 the count on Ricky Henderson. That misses. No, it doesn't. It's over the inside corner for call strike 3. And Ricky, who's made a pretty good living of taking close pitches, he is up there on the all-time list for base on balls. This time he gets caught looking. So Henderson gets the call strike, and he's out of there. The Rocket now with 2 strikeouts in a row after striking out Leiter to end the last inning. Here is Edgardo Alfonso, is having a great year offensively. Bouncing ball, Scott Brocious to his left. Up with it, throws to first, and there's 2 down. So 2 outs, and Roger Clemens may be settling down here in the 3rd inning. And we'll bring up John Olerud. You can see Olerud's walk total. He's well on his way to walking for 100 times this year. There's a pitch in there for a call strike. The Rocket paints the outside corner. Clemens so far 2 up and 2 down in this inning. And trying to set the Mets down in order for the first time in the ball game. There's a call strike and an off-speed pitch, and the count quickly goes to 0-2.
That's a pitch that Clemens had, ironically, talking with Roger before the game. He said, when I was with Seaver as a teammate, I had a pretty good overhand curveball. You seldom see him throw it. He did there.
That was a show-me fastball. Field of Dreams. Colorado, Florida, Atlanta, Houston, Los Angeles. I would imagine that all major league parks are on there somewhere.
There'll be a few new ones on there in a couple of years. Safeco Field actually in another week.
Olerud calls time and steps out. Only player on either team to reach base safely in all 10 Mets. Only one that's played in all 10. That is low.
And again, he shows young hitters that you don't have to be down on the knob of the bat. I think Mike Piazza is waiting on deck, but you notice that Olerud, as big and powerful as he does have 12 home runs and still chokes up on the bat for control.
I'll qualify that a bit. Olerud's the only Met player to start all 10 of the games between the Mets and the Yankees in interleague play. And you can see the effect of choking up. Swings here. There's the effect. Deep to right field. This is headed for the Mets bullpen. A home run for John Olerud. And it's 2-1 Mets. Number 13 on the season puts the Mets back in the lead by a score of 2-1.
Yeah, you can choke up on the bat, but you'll still have the power. Those nice quiet hands, quiet head, solid contact. The 11th home run allowed by Clemens this year. That's already more than he allowed all of last year.
Here's Mike Piazza who takes a pitch down low. So Clemens very close to his first 1-2-3 inning. Instead, gives up a quick run on a home run by John Olerud. That is low. 2 balls and no strikes. John Olerud, who was a pitcher at Washington State as well as a first baseman, made the right choice.
I think so. There was talk when he was drafted whether he might be a pitcher similar to Paul O'Neill.
There's a call strike, 2-1 to Piazza.
I say similar to Paul O'Neill, not that he was drafted as a pitcher, but he was an outstanding pitcher in his high school days. And when he throws that ball in from the outfield, you can see that pitching motion.
Hit on the ground towards third. Nice high hop for Scott Brocious to throw across the diamond. And that'll do it for the Mets here in the bottom of the third. But they pick up another run on the home run by John Olerud, number 13 on the season for him. And this will give the New York Mets a 2-1 lead as we head to the 4th inning.
Piazza, Williams, Olerud, Jeter. The Yanks battle the rival New York Mets after New York Marriott Marquis Scorecard. Sunday on MSG.
All natural Enerx. Clinical studies show various ingredients of Enerx.
Full house here at Shea Stadium, and a reminder that New York Yankees baseball is brought to you in part by MCS Cannon, keeping people in business, and by American General Financial Group. Live the life you've imagined. And welcoming back Al Trautwig, who has been living the life he's imagined. Welcome back from vacation.
You miss a couple of games, and right away everybody's taking a few shots.
Well, I'm sure you enjoyed it, but it's nice to have you back.
Yeah, it's good to be here, and what a game to rejoin the Yankees' journey of 1999. A fabulous atmosphere here at Shea Stadium tonight. And Bernie Williams will lead it off against Al Leiter. Brocious follows, then Tino Martinez. John Olerud's home run has given the Mets the lead. Bernie swings at the first pitch, foul. I think, and we've been talking in the press room, Kenny, nice play down the line by the bat boy, that the atmosphere here at Shea has been a little bit different than Yankee Stadium. It seems as though it's a little bit more energized, and we were throwing out all sorts of theories. And one of mine is that I think that Shea is a little bit more split in terms of equal percentage on both sides. And so the Yankee fans energize the Met fans. The Mets fans energize the Yankee fans. And then you've got the whole underdog thing playing into it. And so the bottom line is it's one of those games where every pitch, every strike has some sort of a reaction. If you're a player, it's got to be great.
I think it's fantastic. I think the Mets fans are trying to encourage their team as well.
To Robin Ventura. To John Olerud. One gone here in the fourth. So Ventura makes the good scoop. It's time now for the Aflac trivia question. Who was the last Yankee directly acquired from the Mets?
You know why that's such a good question? Because they very rarely do business.
Well, that's got to be a while back. That's got to be 10, 15 years back.
Do you know the answer?
Scott Brocious fouls one off back toward the crowd. I'm told by our producer Leon Schweier it's this decade.
Still could be 9 years back.
Nobody jumps out at me. We're going to have to think this one over. Al Leiter has the lead. Shakes off Piazza for option B. The 0-1 to Brocious. Another foul ball straight back.
Good rip by Brocious. Hit a home run in Detroit the other night, and then his next at bat just missed another. Got underneath it. So he's starting to maybe get that home run stroke together. You get that pitch in the wrong direction, he's going to give it a ride.
Brocious 0 for 1, fouled out to Olerud. Leiter's 0-2 pitch. High and tight, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Tino's on deck, had the game-winning home run yesterday in Detroit. I'm going to option E, F, and G.
He doesn't have that many pitches. What they did was, Al, they just went back to one of the first original signs, just trying to make Brocious wait up there with a couple of strikes and maybe try and confuse the hitter. You shake off pitch after pitch, and you're saying, what is that, 6? How many fingers does the guy have behind the plate? The Yankees haven't seen too many lefties. This is only the 14th game against the Yankees started by a left-handed pitcher. This is their 83rd game of the year.
2 balls and 2 strikes. You see Mike Piazza behind the plate. He's got, and this had nothing to do with Bobby Valentine, but they're talking hitting, they're talking baseball, as they always do. Piazza's got that ultra cool insert in the top of his helmet. It's sort of like a sunglass material. And Brocious swings and misses. 2 outs in the Yankee half of the fourth.
Leiter picks up his second strikeout. Good cap cutter down and in. Watch it run for the ankles. And Brocious over the top with the swing. Yeah, Bobby Valentine there. You saw the hitting coach, Mickey Brantley, who was one of the coaches that was called up from the minors by the Mets when they got rid of, what, 3/4 or more of their coaching staff. Back on June the 6th, the Mets are 21-10 since that day. Best record in the major leagues.
Tino looks at ball one, and they're still philosophizing.
The player next to him is Melvin Mora, who is a young infielder. And then, got to get the bat started and then bring it through. Move it back and then forward.
Melvin was one of the Mets stars of spring training. 2-0 to Tino Martinez.
In fact, he started the other day at third base when Robin Ventura missed the ball game, and he became the Mets' 117th third baseman.
And 3-0 to Tino Martinez. And here you have it, best records in baseball since the 6th of June. And the Mets just edging out the San Diego Padres. Yankees are on the list. 3-1. You know, it's weird what a change can do to a team. I mean, for the Knicks, you know, they fire the general manager and suddenly the team gets focused. Here the Mets do that with the coaching staff, and it juices up the team.
Nobody else wants to be next.
Steve Phillips not liking that sequence. It's a 2-out walk to Tino Martinez. Al Leiter is he's an absolute cut up. What a fabulous personality. I hope you saw him with Matt Lachlan before the game explaining how you get from Yankee Stadium to Shea Stadium. Was able to rattle off the strategy. Posada. Ordonez makes it look real easy. And that is it for the Yankees in the top of the 4th. Mets lead it 2-1. Clemens wants to keep it that way.
Can't believe it. Billed, of course, is a Subway Series, but Rachel Robinson, the widow of Hall of Famer Jackie Robinson, knows what a real Subway Series was all about. Can you tell us what this city was like, what the borough of Brooklyn was like when the Yankees and Dodgers squared off in the World Series?
Well, that was the most exciting time of the year for us, of course. And since we played the Yankees so many times and lost so many times, it was also a very painful time of the year for some of us. But the rivalry between the two teams and between the two cities was immense. And people are still talking about it as they meet me on the street.
Well, after all those years of frustration, what did Jackie feel in 1955 when the Dodgers finally broke through?
Well, it was the most exciting high we had in baseball, I think, because we'd waited so long for that victory, and it was a team victory and not an individual victory, which was what they wanted, and obviously.
And lastly, on our pregame show, we saw a highlight of Jackie stealing home base and home plate, and he was safe. Yogi Berra still insists he was out. What's your call?
Oh, he was safe by all means. Oh, Yogi and I still argue about that. Some things never go away.
Some things remain the same no matter how many years pass by. That argument will go on forever, fellas.
Matt, what a graceful woman Rachel Robinson is. And I tell you what, on the replay, I think he was safe.
Yeah,
I agree with Rachel.
That was the first time I've ever seen that angle. He looked safe.
He did look safe. And at Shea and in ballparks throughout baseball, the memory of Jackie Robinson lives on.
Of course, that 1955 season was the only time that the Dodgers beat the Yankees while here in New York in the World Series.
That one went to a Game 7, and starting at second base with Jackie Robinson in that game as well was Don Zimmer in Game 7. Clemens and Posada gathering. It's unbelievable, Kenny, when you think about it. A 10-year stretch, and Zimmer will rattle off the years from 47 to 56. There were 7 Subway Series. 7. And in 1951, in the middle of that stretch, the Dodgers and Giants battled it out for the right to go to the series. What a time in New York sports. 1-2 to Brian McRae, and that just misses low. Oh, Whitey Ford also in attendance tonight. He knew all about those showdowns. Imagine the Yankees won 6 of those 7 Subway Series. McRae just stays alive. It's 2-2. 1 out, bottom of the 4th inning. Mets lead it 2-1.
Of course, Whitey Ford broke Babe Ruth's record for the number of wins by a pitcher in a World Series. And, Yogi Berra has a record for appearances in the World Series, and Mickey Mantle home runs. And it shows you how many times the Yankees went to the World Series.
Now Clemens goes full to Brian McRae. On deck for the Mets is hot Roger Cedeno. Big fastball by Clemens, and McRae is retired. That's the third strikeout for Clemens.
Well, Rocky gets down to a 3-2 count. It's time to put up or shut up, and he puts up. Fastball, knee-high, outside corner. McRae with the swing and a miss.
Let's go back to the Aflac trivia question. Who was the last Yankee directly acquired from the Mets? Frank Tanana, 1993. That did not roll off the top of my brain. Base hit right side for Roger Cedeno.
Well, now this might come into play with 2 outs. You might see Cedeno off and running. He leads the major leagues in stolen bases with 43 as he swings at the first pitch, as he did his first time up when he flied out to center field. So liking that first pitch singles to right. With Ray Ordonez, the 8th hitter up, you would certainly figure that he'll be going. Even if he's thrown out, you have the 8th hitter leading off next inning.
And yet Ray Ordonez, hitting .278, had a single that drove in a run in his first at bat.
And the crowd seemingly coming alive here with Cedeno reaching base, and that's what a good base stealer will do. Ricky Henderson had done it in the past. Whenever he got on, you know, the crowd would come alive, anticipating his move towards second base. When would he go? Cedeno's only been thrown out 9 times to go along with his 43 steals.
He fakes the start. In there for a strike.
Ricky was telling me before the game that just tried to settle Cedeno down. He knew he had the potential to be a great base stealer. Number one, you have to get on base, and he's been doing that a lot more frequently. This is his breakout season. Ricky said, just teach him no fear. When you get out there, feel that you're going to make it if you decide to go. If you have any hesitation or any negative thoughts, you're going to get thrown out.
So it's the old Norman Vincent Peale power of positive thinking.
No fear.
He's tapping that right leg, snapping the fingers, doesn't go. And it's no balls and 2 strikes.
If he doesn't go soon, he might not get a chance. The count is 0-2.
Well, it was always said of Ray Ordonez, if only he could find a way to hit, he would be the complete shortstop. So far this season, he has done that.
It's not the easiest place in the order to hit in front of the pitcher. When you're batting eighth, sometimes they can really fool around with you, throw you a lot of bad pitches. We all know that Ordonez doesn't walk very often.
The fans have mellowed a little bit from the first 3 innings. I mean, they came in ready to go. But it's gotten hot and sticky. The wind has died down. The humidity has picked up. It's one of those nights where you can really and literally see the air. It's thick. Clemens wants to talk it over with Posada again.
Kind of reminds you when you were a youngster, Al. I know growing up in the New York area, I used to either watch the Mets or the Yankees on TV, and be those hot summer nights where you had the fan going and you had all the windows open and you could hear the ball game echoing throughout the neighborhood. Whether it was the Yankees or the Mets, everybody had a ball game turned on.
I remember it well. With the windows open, I could hear my mother yelling and screaming. I knew exactly who was winning and losing.
Time to come home, Al.
Pitch out. Posada's throw is in time, and they get him. Cedeno, an elusive target, but the Yankees played it right. And Posada throws a strike that erases him. Nicely done by the dirty Chuck Knobloch. We go to the 5th.
A new force to be reckoned with. Motor Trend. Reliability, it's guaranteed. Edmunds.com. God's own warranty plan. Confident, secure handling. The ride is also excellent. A solid piece of machinery. Fresh and classic.
The Hyundai Sonata. It seems wherever it goes. Praise from the automotive press is never far behind.
Driver, April 99.
The Sonata from Hyundai. backed by America's best warranty.
Probably you remember some of my home runs of the last season.
Today I would like to invite you to my real home, the Dominican Republic. Now it's your turn to swing the bat and hit the home run for the most memorable vacation of your life. Come to the Dominican Republic. All Americans are welcome.
The Dominican Republic. Come, share our treasures.
Having fun yet? Get to the Wiz Summer of Fun. Buy all the fun stuff you want and get more fun stuff. Free with select purchases.
How much for the room?
The fun is back. Only at the Wiz.
Work piling up? That's the perfect time to declare a national holiday. National Car Rental is declaring every day a national holiday. With our great holiday rates, you can escape to the outdoors. Or the golf greens. Or the tropical beaches. So call National Car Rental now. And declare your own national holiday. What are you waiting for? Let's go.
We're back at Shea Stadium, and the refreshment stands are busy. Game 1 of 3 against the Mets. Meanwhile, the Yankees will take on the Atlanta Braves the 15th, 16th, and 17th. And the 17th is Helmet Day for fans 14 and under, courtesy of Fleet Bank. Then the Montreal Expos come to the Bronx, and on July 18th, to kick off that series, all fans receive a Yogi Berra Day pin, courtesy of Chase. That's because it's Yogi Berra Day in the Bronx. Tickets are available on the World Wide Web, Yankee Stadium, and through Ticketmaster. Al Leiter's first pitch to Chad Curtis is pulled down finally by Edgardo Alfonso. Al Trautwig now joined by Jim Cott, 1 out deep into the 5th.
That was almost an I got it, you take it.
Yeah, that was weird. First it looked like Ordonez, then it looked like Olerud.
They can smile about it now. Any one of them could have caught it, and Alfonso calls him off.
You know, Jim, in comparing these two teams, and that's what these series are supposed to do, I'd love to have your take, because I've done it tonight. Go around to the 8 positions and tell me, of the 8, how many do you think the Mets win out?
And you're going to base that on the years they're having this year.
Oh, certainly I'm not going to go back in the career. Right now, catcher.
Catcher, you got Piazza, obviously.
Mets, that's one. First base.
That's a push.
That's
I know
a push.
Olerud is having a better year average-wise, but you know, Tino picking it up.
Broken bat ground ball by Clemens. He'll save some energy, and there are 2 outs.
I guess I would probably say there in a split decision, you'd have to lean toward Olerud. Not as drastic as that catcher.
Second base.
Alfonso.
Absolutely, that's 2. Shortstop, that's the Yankees.
Cheater, and unfortunately for Ordonez, who's having a great year and is a great shortstop.
Third base, Ventura.
Got to go with Ventura.
Left field.
Left field, you got to go Mets.
That's 4. Center field.
The Yankees win the others.
Okay.
Yeah. But the big difference, if you go beyond that, the big difference in these two teams is the starting rotation.
Right.
That's where you start picking more Yankees. And the bullpen for the Mets is, you know, they're scoring more runs this year. Their bullpen is better, speaking of the Mets, but their starting rotation, actually at this time last year, I think Alan Watson was one of their better starting pitchers.
It's Al Leiter grooving lately, that's for certain. He's held the Yankees rather to only 1 hit. And Chuck Knobloch has it. A timely single that drove in the Yankees' only run in the 3rd. It is a sweaty, sticky night in Flushing.
And the terms you mentioned, and we've been talking about comparing Clemens and Seaver. I had a nice chance to talk with Tom prior to the game tonight, and you know, Roger was quite outspoken prior to the game about Seaver's influence on him. And he said Seaver had that ability early in the game. He'd be throwing the ball about 88 miles an hour. And then all of a sudden, the key spot in the 4th inning, you'd come up there a little over 90, maybe like that. But on a night like tonight, Seaver was talking about how in his latter years he learned to be more economical, not throw as many pitches. As you see Knobloch swing through the good cutter. And both these guys tonight throwing way too many pitches here in the 5th inning already.
Here's Tom Terrific. And in a sense, it's MSG versus Channel 11 tonight, too. the rivalry.
I didn't sense that.
Well, we'll throw it in there.
And again with Clemens and Seaver, Leiter, of course, from the left side of the left-handed thrower, but their mechanics, no one had better pitching mechanics than Tom Seaver.
The 1-2 to end the inning. And we'll do at least one more. Jeter on deck. High fly to right center field. Coming over is Cedeno, and he pulls it down for out number 3. So a solid inning for Al Leiter. He gets the Yankees 1-2-3. It's the Mets' turn next.
Back at Shea, 2-1 Mets as we head to the bottom of the 5th inning. You're looking at the Hall of Famer Tom Seaver, who in 1986 was a teammate of Roger Clemens. But let's check him out in his earlier years. Look at that leg kick, leg drive. Really used his legs. And I asked him what he thought about Roger Clemens when he first met him during Clemens' about 2nd or 3rd year. What impressed him? What characteristics did Clemens have? And we'll get to it right after this pitch.
The first thing that struck me about Roger, going over watching him play and pitch, and the things that divide pitchers at that level from a physical standpoint are not too much. But what you see, what I saw was intensity, focus, a killer instinct, and a striving to be excellent every time they went to the mound. And it's kind of all the intangibles that were there to be a great pitcher. He's obviously been able to maintain that, put the numbers up that he's had over the course of his career.
Now it's Tom Seaver on Roger Clemens, and if you want to know the drive that Tom Seaver used to get out of his legs, by the time a game was over, Seaver's right knee would be totally dirty. That was because on, I would say, just about every pitch, Jim, he was driving to the point where his knee hit the mound.
Drop and drive.
Now, you know, anybody can take a ball outside, ground ball to Knobloch, scoops and throws, and you hear the reaction for every throw. I mean, Knobloch was hearing it from the Mets fans before this game tonight. They were all over his case.
They pay attention, don't they? Well, and we talked about footwork, and notice how Chuck will throw this ball on the run. It's almost like he's afraid to let his feet get underneath him and solid, and it's just the opposite if he would do that. I mean, I think if I had a chance to take Chuck Knobloch in the infield, I'd take him out without a ball and a glove and just have him go through the motions with his feet as if he were throwing to second base and get his footwork proper first.
Well, here's a moment that Al Leiter said he was really juiced about, the chance to get up and hit against a pitcher like Roger Clemens.
Likes punishment, huh?
Well, he struck out the first time. And here he makes contact. Scoop by Jeter. So just to finish the thought on Seaver, I mean, just about anybody can grab a ball and throw it, and imagine how hard you have to throw it to get your knee onto the ground. It's
watch Clemens drop and drive. See, he'll flex that knee a little bit. Now Seaver's back knee would get almost, you know, Roger has much thicker legs. I think part of it is Tom's flexibility, but similar motions. I think in going back to Tom's comments on Roger, what I don't see this year versus the last couple years is the killer instinct, the intensity, and I think he almost, because of big crowds in New York, is trying to calm himself down. He's not the same pitcher that way.
Ricky Henderson to center field. Bernie Williams makes a nice running catch, and that'll do it for the Mets and me. Jim Cott will be rejoined by Ken Singleton. I'll see you on the post game with Michael Kay. Right now it is the Mets leading the Yankees 2-1. We're through 5 as we send it to Bill Daughtry at the Garden. Bill.
Thanks, Al, for the first time since this. More about the epic Battle of New York. It's Shea, Darryl Strawberry, more on his situation. Interleague action, yes, that's what baseball will be doing for the next couple of days. And Mike Quick goes to camp. Those stories and more tonight at 10:30 after the Yankees and Mets on MSG. Let's go back to Shea.
Thanks, Bill. Welcome back to Shea. Well, 2-1 here at Shea, but Sunday the Liberty basketball is going to be on Fox Sports New York. You can tune in as Teresa Witherspoon and the Liberty host the expansion Minnesota Lynx. That's a battle at the Garden. Complete coverage will begin at 4 p.m. The Liberty take on the Lynx Sunday afternoon at 4 live on Fox Sports Net New York.
We go to the 6th inning, and Derek Jeter will lead it off for the Yankees. They're down by a run, and he pulls the first pitch foul near the Yankee dugout. Al Leiter, that was his 85th pitch. As you see what Jeter's done tonight, struck out and reached on a fielder's choice. Al Leiter's allowed just one hit. There's a single, a run-scoring single by Chuck Knobloch in the 3rd inning. Jeter swings. There's the 2nd hit. A leadoff single for Derek Jeter here in the 6th. And that'll put the tying run aboard. There's a Derek Jeter fan.
Lots of them. Well, what might happen now the 3rd time through the order? Sometimes you say, well, look at that 2nd time around with a young pitcher. Obviously, Leiter is an experienced pitcher, but with hitters like Jeter and Brocious and Yankees in general, when you get to that 3rd time as a pitcher, sometimes you have to change your pattern. You cannot continue to go to that same spot time after time. We'll see if Leiter deviates from that cutter inside to righties and outside to lefties.
Well, sometimes you're losing something off your fastball, too. This is a hot, humid night, which is what has turned into a humid night. That pitch is outside for a ball.
And we showed the shots, Kenny, of Clemens and Seaver and their great leg drive. And sometimes you'll hear people say, well, pitcher's arm got tired. Very seldom does your arm get tired. It's your body, your legs, your foundation that begins to waver underneath you.
O'Neill hitting just 175 against left-handers this year. Well over 300 against righties. Swings here. This is towards the gap in left center field, and it's going to go all the way to the wall. Derek Jeter with the great speed is the 3rd base. He's being waved home by Willie Randolph, and we have a tie ball game. It's 2-2. Paul O'Neill with a double to the gap in left center field with nobody out. So the Yankees, who only had 1 hit coming into this inning, have 2 in a row.
Back-to-back hits. You see what Piazza wanted it inside. Leiter left it out over the plate, and the 3rd time around, Paul O'Neill makes the adjustment, takes it the other way. Kenny mentioned Jeter's speed. He doesn't even need the coach there. He's reading where that ball is, knows he can score easily.
Standing up for Derek Jeter, and look at the pitch. It's up. That's belt high. And even O'Neill, who struggled somewhat against lefties, can hammer something like that. There's manager Bobby Valentine, and sometimes you can feel the momentum switching, going the other way, and maybe this will be the inning for the Yankees. It's the top of the 6th, and they have tied the game. They have the go-ahead run in scoring position at 2nd base. Bernie Williams, ground ball, going to be a tough play for Ordonez. The long throw is in time to get Bernie Williams. Maybe there isn't a tough play for Ray Ordonez.
Bernie cannot be happy with that at bat. I know he's a cleanup hitter, but he is a batting champion. He's not your prototype cleanup hitter, and the Mets got him to do just what they wanted. They got him to pull the ball. There's the flashy play by Ray Ordonez, and it prevents O'Neill from advancing. See how he gets his footwork in position. Talk about excellent footwork. Even though he goes to that knee, he gets up and takes that little crow hop to make sure he's got proper balance.
Scott Brocious takes a pitch inside for a ball. Brocious tonight is fouled out and struck out, 0 for 2. With every run that is scored tonight, the crowd has been yelling and screaming as that runner is rounded 3rd. That's a call strike, 1-1.
We mentioned before the game, Kenny, that if you poll the players, you know, they just, as we said, the Mets don't want to play the Yankees 6 times because the Braves only play them 3. It's a big advantage in the standings. But once you get in here with the crowd atmosphere, those thoughts all go away, and you can see the concentration level pick up a little.
O'Neill's trying to steal 3rd. The throw by Piazza is in time.
Oh! We're going to get a big argument here, including Joe Torre.
Dana Dubuque, the 3rd base umpire, the crew chief, called out O'Neill. quickly. Willie Randolph was over to argue, and now Joe Torre's out there. It was a bang-bang play, but Joe and O'Neill thought he got in there.
What I want to see on the replay is where Dana DeMuth was. You see him back to the third baseline. Paul O'Neill might have fooled him. See, he is not as close to the play as you would like. You see the tag go on about knee-high, and O'Neill's foot was in. See, and DeMuth just getting it, and he's a good 10 feet behind him. Maybe he feels like that's where he gets the best angle at it, but he was blocked off. He was blocked off by seeing this come in and tag up here when the lead foot had already apparently touched the bag.
So O'Neill thrown out on a close play and called out by Dana DeMuth. And you can see the reaction of Paul O'Neill.
For me, he's not in close enough position to call that.
So that will go down as a caught stealing. O'Neill was trying to get the third one going out. Now there's 2 outs. And nobody on for Brocious. Pitches inside, 2-2.
And Kenny, is that frustrating for a player? Paul O'Neill not known for stealing bases, but look what he does with the slide. He slides into the back corner. So he gets away from Ventura. He did everything perfectly. He said, I read the motion, I stole third, surprise play, bingo. Doesn't get the call.
2-2 pitch, hammered into left field for a base hit. So Brocious will be aboard with 2 outs.
And that even inflicts a little more pain on the Yankees. And I think I have not been an umpire, but I've certainly seen a lot of them in several thousand games. But I wonder whether Paul O'Neill fooled Dana DeMuth and he didn't see him. Because if he was right on top of the play and made that call, you'd say, hey, he had a good look at it. But from 10 feet back, he never had the best look at the play.
Well, Scott Brocious at first with 2 outs for Tino Martinez. The Yankee bats have come alive with 3 hits here in the 6th. One more time, we're going to take one more look.
Yeah, the slide is what makes it. He slides to the back corner of the bag.
That might turn out to be the key play in this game. Inside.
You know, and in fairness to Dana DeMuth, we get 4 or 5 looks at it, but what jumped out at me is that he was not in
close enough.
Yeah, in the best. But if he's that as a player, you say, hey, you were right there. You made the best call you could. But I think he got trapped and surprised by O'Neill.
2 balls and no strikes on Tino Martinez with Scott Brocious at first. Tino swings, drives one towards left field. Coming on is Ricky Henderson. And the veteran outfielder will make the catch. And the Yankees are retired here in the 6th inning. They pick up a run on 3 hits. But O'Neill ties the ball game with a shot to the gap in left center. It's a 2-2 game. We head to the bottom of the 6th.
Today, Nortel Networks is changing the way businesses communicate.
Here come 2-2 bottom of the 6th inning. And fans, this copyrighted telecast is authorized under rights granted by the New York Yankees solely for the private, non-commercial use of our audience. Any publications, reproductions, retransmissions of the use of the pictures, descriptions, of accounts of this game without the express written consent of the New York Yankees and Madison Square Garden Network is strictly prohibited. Edgardo Alfonso leading it off for the Mets. Bottom of the 6th inning. Alfonso tonight is fly to right, grounded to third, 0 for 2. 2, 3, and 4 for the Mets to face the Rocket. 2-2 ball game. The pitch is outside. It's a ball and a strike.
You saw Roger take a couple of deep breaths. The hot, sticky night. This is his 9th inning. Both times the Yankees scored, the Mets, and the other time the Mets have come back. And this is right here through the 2-3-4 guy. He has got to shut them down, because chances are he's not going to pitch 9 innings and give the bullpen a chance to win it.
Off the end of the bat and towards right field. Knobloch going back quickly and can't get to it. It drops in for a base hit. Edgardo Alfonso, who is in the top 10 in the National League in hits, dumps one into right field, leadoff single.
In on the handle, can't do anything about that. O'Neill respecting a little bit. You see Paul coming in, immediately knew he had no shot of it, so he's playing Yeah, he's playing free safety just to back up. Knobloch had the best chance, gave it every effort he could, fully extended, and almost got leather on it.
So Alfonso, the leadoff man, is on here in the 6th inning for the Mets. And we'll bring up John Olerud. With his 13th home run of the year in the 3rd inning. Fastball is up high for ball 1. A nice, clean, crisp stroke. You can see the effects of the night on Al Leiter. And you know, you look at those two pictures, you see the cool, calm shortstop and the sweating pitcher. Right. You can tell who's the pitcher. That is low, ball 2. Let's go back to the 3rd inning, Kitty.
Well, again, Clemens gets behind in the count. This is a 3-2 pitch, and right in the hitting zone, about thigh high inside, and that's one of the longer home runs you'll see Olerud hit. That was deep into the Mets bullpen.
Off the lower part of the scoreboard. Once again, Olerud's ahead on the count. That pitches neatly over the outside corner for a called strike. Now Olerud, we mentioned the fact that he has a good eye at the plate. Doesn't swing at too many bad pitches. That pitch is outside, 3-1, and the Mets here might be thinking about sending the runner.
The Yankees do that a lot. Joe Torre, even though this is a hitting count, Joe feels like with experienced hitters, if it's not a strike, they can take it. Let's see how the Mets do it.
Alfonso's not going, and the pitch is outside for ball 4. And the Mets are threatening against Roger Clemens here in the 6th. A single and a walk, with 2 men on with nobody out.
Again, Leiter having a discussion with Ordonez, maybe about way to play it. Al talking before the game in pitchers batting practice, they hit 20 the pitchers hit about 20 home runs. He was talking about how well the ball carries here.
And here's a guy who can make it carry. Was grounded out twice to Brocious, once started a double play that ended the 1st inning. Swing and a bouncing ball foul. Piazza leads the National League in grounding into double plays with 15. What that usually means is that you hit the ball hard on the ground.
And don't run too well.
No, not as well as you should. Let's put it that way. Behind on the count, no balls and a strike. The Rocket came into this inning with just 67 pitches. He's going to need a couple of big ones here to get out of this. Fastball up and in. Piazza checks. Going to our American Express quote book, and this is from Mike Piazza. These games are great. There's no question. We'll be pumped. Be excited. Maybe a shot of adrenaline will be good for us. I think the crowd energizes ball players, no matter whether you're at home or on the road. 2-2 tie. That is low. 2 balls and a strike.
And I think there's much more at stake for the Mets. I feel like if they win 2 out of 3 or should even sweep going into the second half of the season after the All-Star break, it is that big shot of adrenaline that Bobby Valentine his team needs, and the one that Piazza talked about.
Well, they're chasing the Atlanta Braves, and they're trying to hold off the Philadelphia Phillies, who are right behind the Mets in the standings. Pitch to Piazza, breaking ball, line towards left field and deep. This is going towards the bleachers. It is gone. A 3-run home run for Mike Piazza. And the Mets have jumped out to a 5-2 lead. Well, Piazza hit a home run off of Clemens at Yankee Stadium. He's duplicated that feat here tonight. A single and a walk and a home run. Well, you never know. He might be the MVP of the All-Star game, but he's going to come out for the curtain call. #18th home run of the year for Mike Piazza. Robin Ventura took a pitch in close. for ball 1. Rocket deals, and that misses.
Well, again, the better the hitter, the more important it is to get ahead, and he knew immediately. That ball down and in, right in the hitter's power zone, shows you the strength of Piazza. That was a line drive laser.
Pitch is fouled off by Ventura, and the count is 2-1. Shows you that Piazza knew that ball wasn't going to stay in.
It has that magic sound, doesn't it? And it does to a pitcher. It's a sickening thud to a pitcher, but you know when that ball hits the bat, it's not going to stay in the ballpark.
Pitch is fouled off by Ventura, 2-2.
And again, it's been the story all night for Clemens. You'll see the contact. The better the hitter, the more important it is to get ahead, and he has consistently pitched from behind.
You can see the bat coming up into the ball, which will drive it out of the ballpark. Ventura takes a pitch, an appeal at third, and no swing. Count is now full on Ventura.
First time I saw Mike Piazza back in the early 90s in Houston, and his manager Tommy Lasorda said, "Come on in, I want to show you the strength of this kid." Mike Piazza can take one of those weights and roll it up with his forearm. That's where a lot of his strength is right in the forearms.
Ventura with a shot to center field. Bernie Williams on the run, comes over and makes the catch. That ball was hit hard. 1 down. Yeah, you ever shake hands with Mike Piazza?
Lightly.
Yeah, well, you feel good when you get your hand back.
Vice grip. We're seeing right now Mickey Brantley, the new hitting coach, talking with Alfonso maybe about how to attack Clemens. I think on a hot night, a lot of pitchers, the legs we talked about earlier are not as strong. And as a result, there's just not as much on the ball. There's not as much drive.
Last time that the Rocket allowed 2 home runs in a game, it was against the Orioles way back in April 15th. And I believe it was Albert Bell who hit both of them. Al Leiter now with a 3-run lead.
He's going to get Steve Phillips on the phone. He's going to give Piazza a raise.
Yeah. 3-0's the count now.
Because of this. Looked like maybe a splitter or a breaking ball that just dove down and in right where hitters like it. And look at Leiter. Does he appreciate it? 6 tough innings of pitching, and he's got a nice 3-run lead.
McCray swinging 3-0, hits the ground ball to Jeter at short. Now the throw to first is in time, 2 outs. The Yankees down by 3 in hostile territory in Queens. And here is Roger Cedeno. Each time he swung at the first pitch, fly to center and single to right, and was caught stealing on a good throw on a pitch out call by the Yankees. They sniffed one out and threw out Cedeno. That ball is up off the glove of Posada, and it's ball 1. That'll loosen up any hitter.
Up over the helmet. Clemens immediately went to his hand as if the only guy that knows is a pitcher. I mean, look at the perspiration on Rogers' face, on his hands. The same thing for Al Leiter.
That pitch misses the inside corner. It's 2 balls and no strikes.
In these kinds of conditions, what a starting pitcher has to do, as Lindsey Davenport's friend Dan Nolte begins to heat up in the bullpen, is you drink more fluids the day before you pitch, not as much on the day you pitch.
Pitches bounce foul as Cedeno pulls one to the far end of the Mets dugout.
And why is that? Because look at the perspiration. What happens, it runs down your arm, gets on your fingertips. You'll see him, he'll go to the rosin bag, he'll finger up the ball. Look at this, his arms are glistening with perspiration. And you try to keep that to a minimum so you can keep your hand as dry as possible.
That misses. 3 balls and a strike. You know, looking back at the pitch that Piazza hit out of the ballpark, I think it was a slider and it was low middle instead of low and away.
If it was a slider, yeah, it looked like it backed up almost. It backed up into the right-hand hitter.
Bouncing ball on the right side, and Cedeno has his second hit. That's the third hit of the inning for the Mets. And once again, it puts the base-stealing threat on at first base.
Not only a second hit, but a quick glance at Roger Clemens, and that's the best thing a hitter can do. If you feel like a pitcher's throwing up there and up and in, this is the best way to attack it. He gets, again, a pitch down and in. You see him quick glance out at Clemens like, take that.
Well, you know what he's thinking. He's going to steal second in a hurry. Last time he waited to Ordonez had no balls at two, to throw to first, and he's back. And the Yankees sniffed out that he would be going and pitched out and got him. I think if he goes, he'll go earlier in the count here. Not going. Pitches down low to Ordonez, who singled in a run in the second inning. And also grounded to second, so he's 1 for 2. Roger Cedeno didn't get much of a chance with the Los Angeles Dodgers. That's a strike, 1-1 on Ordonez.
Well, you see Ordonez taking a couple of pitches, at least giving Cedeno a chance to go. Ray right here is giving himself up.
This is a guy who likes to swing the bat.
Yeah.
Another toss over the first. I would think by this time that Cedeno has proven that he doesn't need the sign. He can go when he wants. Even though there's another toss to first, and that's a little closer. But he gets back.
And what really helps Clemens, Kenny, they did a good job the last time Posada threw him out. He just gets the arm in. Is that Clemens does have the quick feet. That's the key to a pickoff move for a right-hand pitcher, and that will keep a base runner just close enough so if Posada makes a strong throw on one of Clemens' good fastballs, you'd have a chance to throw him out.
There goes Cedeno. The pitch is hit through the right side for a base hit. Cedeno slides headfirst into second, gathers himself, and heads for third. So Ray Ordonez with his second hit of the night puts runners in the corners with 2 outs.
Some of the Mets tonight, again, that pitch up in the strike zone, making a great statement for why there are not more of them on the All-Star team. We're seeing an All-Star performance. Cedeno, he never picks up the ball. Knobloch came over to the bag, but Rogers got enough speed to get up and get to third easily.
Now, even with the pitcher up, even if Al Leiter makes the third out here, the Mets have gotten him out of the way for next inning. They'll have the top of the order coming up. First and third with 2 down. Leiter with a chance to help himself out. He has struck out and grounded to short. He's 0 for 2. That is high for a ball. Leiter, who came in hitting .074. So that bingo number has dropped down a little bit. Fouls this one back. When you get over to the National League and hit pitchers hitting,
yeah,
this time of year you're really looking for numbers to fill out that card. that might be it.
At 72 under the O. And last thing Leiter wants right now is a double in the gap. He'd appreciate the he doesn't want to run the bases on a night like tonight.
That is a ball and a strike.
Well, he might say, I'll take the double. They'll bring the bullpen in to take care of me.
There's a call strike, and Posada came out of there quickly looking to throw towards third. That was the 100th pitch of the night for the Rocket.
You see Cedeno with a little bluff move, and Posada thinks about taking a shot at him.
The runner goes from first, and the pitch is fouled off. You know, one reason why you wouldn't want to throw to third, you got the pitcher at the plate.
I was just thinking with Ordonez running, Bobby Valentine's decision is if you run Ordonez and get him thrown out, you have Leiter leading off. You don't want him leading off, but chances are he might pinch hit for him if Leiter gives him one more good inning of pitching. But I think you'd rather have Leiter make the out and get Ricky Henderson leading off.
1-2 pitch is fouled off again. Leiter hanging in there. It's not bad for an old something hitter.
I think what's admirable and enjoyable about watching Al Leiter, he's got his game face on, but he really enjoys playing the game. You'll see him animated in the dugout. Of course, a New Jersey native that actually watched the Phillies as a kid, but was always a Mets fan and broke in with the Yankees.
Yankees' second-round draft pick. Runner goes. The pitch is up high to look towards third, and they're going to let Ordonez move down to second base. And he will get a stolen base. That is his third of the year. Roger Clemens had thrown 67 pitches through 5 innings. He's thrown 35 this inning. Had to work much harder. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Clemens will close out the Mets here in the 6th, but not before the Mets come up with 3 runs on 4 hits. But this is the big one. The 3-run home run by Mike Piazza. It's 5-2. The Mets lead.
You're watching MSG Network. MSG Network. It's more than just a game.
Lock and load. All the excitement and all the action. Move these people out! The New York Times calls it seductively appealing. This is the moment we've planned. One of the year's 10 best.
That scarcely does it justice.
A high-octane thrill ride. Reroute! Emergency power! It's the last word in explosions, then outer space fireworks. Star Trek Insurrection.
Playing this month on Direct Ticket, only on Direct TV.
What's inside her is not a normal fetus.
It's moving inside me. I felt it.
That's impossible.
Aliens?
I need you to think back to that night. Something happened.
You got me pregnant.
Wilfred Brimley, Julian McWhirter, and Arnold Vosloo. Progeny.
Playing this month on Direct Ticket, only on Direct TV.
We will hunt down the enemy, and we will kill the enemy.
FBI! I want you to turn the heat up. Their objective was the enemy.
We don't know who the terrorists are for sure.
Their methods were different.
I am declaring martial law in this city.
And our freedom.
Do you have any idea what you're starting?
Don't ever again question my command, and I'm not under your command.
Hangs in the balance.
You can't do this. Right now, right here, I am the law.
The Siege.
Playing this month on Direct Ticket, only on Direct TV.
Full house at Shea, and New York Yankees baseball is brought to you in part by Toyota. Every day. Al Leiter will move to the 7th inning. Thus far, he's allowed a couple runs on 4 hits for the Yankees. It's going to be the bottom third of the order. Posada, Curtis, and Clemens. And with Clemens' spot coming up, Jason Grimsley is throwing in the Yankee bullpen beyond the wall in left field. Posada's grounded out on a couple of occasions. Leiter deals and misses inside, ball 1.
This will be a little different challenge for the Yankees. You get some teams like Detroit, some of the low-end teams in the American League. Looks like Jeff Manto might get the call to hit for Roger Clemens. But the Mets with their bullpen.
Look down, up and in.
Don't know if that was with a big lead, whether that was an answer for Clemens' pitch to Cedeno. May have been the target is up and in, and it almost looked that's where Leiter wanted it. Maybe not at the head, but it was just kind of a message of, hey, don't throw anything close to my hitters because we'll do the same thing.
This will be the century mark in pitches tonight, number 100 for Al Leiter. And this is a ball 3. Piazza wanted the appeal at first, didn't get it. And Kitty, I guess I imagine, just as you pointed out, last inning would be a big inning for Roger Clemens. This is the big one for Leiter, trying to shut down the Yankees. 3-0 pitches right in there. because of the fact his team has just scored.
It always is. On the bench, you're telling yourself, be aggressive. Be more aggressive this inning than I was last inning. And then when your team gets 3, you take the mound saying, this is the bottom of the 9th. I'm going to close the game down right here.
That is a call strike 2, and the count is full on Posada. 3 balls and 2 strikes. You saw Chad Curtis in the on-deck circle. Clemens scheduled to follow him. Yankees down by 3 here at the top of the 7th. Big blow was a 3-run home run by Mike Piazza in the 6th for the Mets. Pitch is hit hard towards third. Robin Ventura from the line throws him out. Now Ventura came over as a free agent. The Mets signing him, trying to plug a long-time hole at third base.
We have certainly seen the Mets infield live up to their reputation. Only 10 unearned runs by this ball club all year. That's the best in the major leagues. It's another fine play by Ventura. Couple that with the Yankees, who have given up 36 unearned runs. That's down near the bottom in the American League.
Here's Curtis, who's walked and popped up. Curveball, and that one missed. Ball 1.
Al Leiter, as Mantle waits on deck, and if he wants to take it a little deeper into the ball game right now as a starter on a hot night, you become your own relief pitcher. You change your pattern and say, okay, I threw a lot of fastballs and cutters. Now I'm going to plan B to get through this 7th and maybe 8th inning.
That misses. 2 balls and no strikes. Second straight hitter, and Leiter's fallen behind. Yankees need base runners, at least 2, before they have a chance to tie this ball game. Big swing, and he pulls it foul. Looked like Leiter took something off.
Even there, I see in Al Leiter's eyes, what Tom Seaver talked about Clemens, a focus and intensity, a confidence that I really have only seen in Roger a couple of times this year. I don't think he has any physical problems.
Concentration. That's pulled foul off the left foot of Curtis. 2-2. That's the effects of that down and in slider.
You'll see Al Leiter's eyes. You see the glove will never come in front of him. The eyes from the time he's taken the sign are focused right in on the glove. Never takes his eyes off him. Threw that pitch right where he wanted to. Down and in out of the strike zone, getting Chad Curtis to chase a borderline pitch.
2 balls and 2 strikes. Doesn't like that one. Doesn't like the next one. Leiter trying to jumpstart the Mets in this 3-game series. That is low, and the count is run full. Second straight hitter. He's gone to the full count. He's now over 100 pitches, so now you got to figure that the tank will be running out of gas pretty soon. But that's when Bobby Valentine can go to that deep and strong bullpen. Payoff pitch on the way to Curtis. Swings and hits it foul down the third base side. A nice play by the ball boy down the line. That's
by Double O. And as he turns his back, it reminds me, Kenny, Steve Hurt, our good friend at Elias Sports Bureau, pointed out as one more look at the ball boy making the pick. This might be the only game in baseball where in the major leagues where neither team has a name on their back, only numbers. Happy fan?
A young happy fan. Once again, the payoff pitch to Chad Curtis. Hits it down the right field side. This will make the seats, and the count remains 3 balls and 2 strikes.
There's John Franco, who is out with, might be out as much as 10 weeks with I believe a tear in the sheath of one of the tendons in that middle finger. He was actually pitching in a mop-up game when that happened. But they have Armando Benitez to fill in quite nicely.
That is low ball 4, and Leiter removes Chad Curtis. So the Yankees put a man on with 1 out. And it will bring up Jeff Manto, who will pinch hit for Roger Clemens. And a look at our New York Marriott Marquee matchup as Al Leiter went 6 1/3, 4 hits, a couple of earned runs, 2 strikeouts and 4 walks. In the Rocket, 6 innings, 9 hits, 5 earned runs, struck out 4 and walked 2. But the big blow was the home run. Dave Wallace, the pitching coach.
Now, what do you think this is about? Well, very simply, Jeff Manto just acquired. And they've got scouting reports, so just a quick word down in there. And Jeff Manto, he survived in the minor leagues and part-time in the major leagues on being able to hit a fastball. This is a great story of perseverance. That guy in his mid-30s has a little over 4 years. Turk Wendell began to heat up in the Mets bullpen.
Bobby Valentine thinking that maybe Leiter's getting a little tired here. As Manto with his swings at the first pitch that he sees and flies out to center field. McCray back, makes the catch, and there's 2 outs. So Manto didn't waste any time. He saw something he liked and went for it.
Yeah, that's good strategy on Leiter's part. And if you're Manto, his experience as a pinch hitter, he's saying, hey, the best pitch I'm going to get to hit is the first one. If you're Al Leiter, you got a 3-run lead. You say, hey, you've been on the bench all night, pal. Here it is. If you hit it, fine. And he wins the battle by being aggressive and getting ahead.
Knobloch steps to the plate, having driven in one of the Yankee runs tonight. Been on base twice with a walk. He's also picked up a stolen base. The Yankees starting to run out of outs. That's inside, almost clips Knobloch, and it's ball 1.
Yeah, this would be a big out for Leiter because Dave Wallace made the trip to the mound. Turk Wendell got up in the bullpen. And if he loses Knobloch, Bobby Valentine knows the decision he has to make with Jeter coming up, representing the tying run against the left-hand pitcher.
That's up high, 2 balls and no strikes. Of course, Knobloch doesn't present you with much of a strike zone to throw to.
And of course, Bobby Valentine knows all too well. Dennis Cook getting up now. That would be for Paul O'Neill. Bobby knows all too well what happened when he allowed Mel Rojas to pitch to Paul O'Neill. But again, the numbers can be deceiving. Derek Jeter hits right-hand pitching better than lefties.
Knobloch takes, and it's a call strike. 2-1. Leiter hits the inside corner. Tying run is in the on-deck circuit. If Jeter can get to the plate here in the top of the 7th. Knobloch trying to do everything he can to make that happen. Toss over to first, and Curtis just gets back. This is no time to get picked off.
No, and that's all it would have taken for this play to make. If it works just once, you're going to think, wow, that's really a good way to do it. You see Curtis reacted just in time to get back, and I think you'll see Chad take a little more cautious lead this time. He has no place to go.
Knobloch will hit one in the air to right field. Coming on to Cedeno, has pretty good speed. He's there and makes the catch. But Chuck Knobloch flies out to right. Al Leiter gone through 7 innings and held the Yankees to 2 runs on 4 hits. Jason Grimsley is headed to the mound.
Many sport utility vehicles feature a body that's held to a frame by just 10 bolts. The body and frame of the Infiniti QX4 is actually one solid structure held together by over 4,200 precision welds. So if you ever wonder why the QX4 drives so solid, it's because it is so solid.
Hi, I have a question about buying stock. What's the difference between a market order and a limit order? Hello? Excuse me. When you have an investment question, does your online brokerage have anybody there to answer it? We do. It's not funny anymore.
It's time for E-Trade, the #1 place to invest online.
This summer, if you think you're safe on a boat, on land, or in the air, then you haven't been to Lake Placid.
I'm rooting for the crocodile.
Rated R. Opens wide July 16th.
5-2 Mets. 7th inning stretch here at Shea Stadium. And Sunday, Mets and the Yankees finish up the Subway Series 1999 with a matinee here at Shea. First pitch is set for 1:30. And then next Monday, the Bombers are back in action at the stadium when they host the Montreal Expos. A 7:30 start on MSG. There's plenty of action coming up on MSG Network. It's more than just a game. New pitcher will be Jason Grimsley. Bringing the sinker ball across the Triborough Bridge into Shea Stadium.
Ought to get it to sink in this heavy air. You can see the walk total sneaking up a little bit. Jason has had a couple of rough outings recently, leaving that sinker up in the strike zone.
So Roger Clemens will work 6, and he's done. Here's Ricky Henderson. And the first pitch to Ricky is in there for a called strike. Henderson been on base once. He singled in the first inning. Since then, he struck out and flied to center field. And the veteran who has scored over 2,000 runs in his career. Takes a pitch inside. 1 ball and 1 strike. You know, Ricky says he wants the all-time record for scoring runs.
And with his condition, you know, his body stays healthy enough, he might get it.
Bouncing ball foul down the third base side. The count is a ball and 2 strikes.
You have to be impressed with this Met ball club if they get pitching like they did tonight. That's the big difference in the two. And tonight, the Yankees did not get good pitching from Roger Clemens, as you see on the Toyota box score.
And a couple of home runs, one by Olerud, a solo shot, but the big one, the 3-run home run by Mike Piazza. That came last inning in the 6th. Henderson checks his swing. The appeal at first, they say no swing. That is Jeff Kellogg, the first base umpire. And the count on Henderson is 2 balls and 2 strikes. I remember Ricky Henderson when he broke in with Oakland, as we look at this last pitch, and he appears to check his swing.
That's why you won't see Jason Grimsley throw that breaking ball too often. He'll throw on once in a while, but he'll primarily come back to that good heavy sinker.
Henderson bounces that sinker to short for Jeter. A couple of steps to his right. The throw to first is in time, but Henderson's a leadoff out. As mentioned, I remember Ricky Henderson. He was such a pain in the neck leadoff guy that Ray Miller, who was the pitching coach of the Orioles at the time, said, you know, he gets on base and jockeys all around, gets everything all stirred up. He said, I'd really like to drill him one day, but then he'd be at first base right where he wants to be.
Well, it's that arrogance. That's what makes him a great player. It's that arrogance that he intimidates and sometimes irritates the other team, and he uses it to his advantage.
Edgardo Alfonso, who got it started for the Mets in the 6th with a jam shot single in the right field, and that was the hit that set the Mets rally off in the 6th inning. He scored a run. He was on when Piazza holed it. I think one of the big things, you talked about how successful the Mets infield has been this year. Another bouncing ball, and this one's fouled on the third base side. And I think the ability of Alfonso to adjust from third base to second base so smoothly, where it looks like he's been there for years, to make room for Ventura at third base.
His older brother taught him well. I mentioned the story early in the game of Edgardo's dad was not all in favor of them playing baseball, but his older brother picked it up and didn't end up becoming the player that Edgardo is, but he sort of taught him the game and played a lot with him as a kid.
That's outside, 2-1.
Native of Venezuela, and like Luis Sojo, Olerud waits on deck. Davey Concepcion and Luis Aparicio, they're heroes there as infielders.
That's a high sinker that's fouled back. Baseball becoming more and more of an international game. There's Luis Sojo from Venezuela. And Ricky Leday from Puerto Rico.
Ricky Leday coming off a nice night last night in Tiger Stadium, giving Bernie Williams a night off.
2 balls and 2 strikes. There's Bernie. Breaking ball fouled at the plate. Got a piece of Jorge Posada. Count remains 2-2 on Alfonso. There's El Duque.
Well, what a job he turned in last night. 8 innings, picking up his 10th win. That last swing by Alfonso, we talk about this often with the Yankee hitters. They're not afraid to hit with 2 strikes. That's Alfonso. He's not going to chase a lot of pitches. He feels very comfortable hitting with 2 strikes.
Ground ball towards the hole, and a little bit more comfortable here. A base hit into left field. His 2nd hit of the night. He is among the league leaders in the National League in multi-hit games. So after starting off 0 for 2, Alfonso is now 2 for 4.
Yeah, after the little jam shot to right, this is right down there where you'd like to have it. Breaking into you, no chance for Brocious. Mets in position here with 1 out. They would like to tack on another run or 2 in the last couple innings.
John Olerud now with a seasonal average of .315. As he's been on base all 3 times. And we talked about his ability to do just that, get on base. Time is called by home plate umpire Charlie Relevant. Grimsley with the choker tonight on a very hot and humid night.
They got air conditioning in that bullpen.
I don't know if there's air conditioning any place here. Certainly not outside of the offices. That is way outside. Nice stop by Posada. Ball 1.
And long sleeves. You remember Mike Marshall, great relief pitcher for years, won the Cy Young Award, pitcher with Montreal and the Dodgers. And if it was 20 degrees, he'd be dressed just like Joe Torre and Mel Stottlemyre. No sleeves. And I got a chance to ask him one time, because he was a bright guy, college physiology major, knew
kinesiology.
He knew all the well, you saw him in Montreal. He knew everything about he was a right-hander in a left-hander's body or something like that. He thought a little like a lefty. But I asked him, I said, why don't you wear a sweatshirt? He went on for 15 minutes telling me how it drains oxygen out of your system because a sweatshirt will help cool your body down. I didn't wear a sweatshirt after that. Never felt better in my life.
You don't have one on tonight either, Olerud towards left field. Curtis snares the line drive for the 2nd out. So Olerud with a bid for yet another hit, another time on base. Is the 2nd out, but a big hand for this man, Mike Piazza. Well, this is the man that the Mets made the decision. If we're going to go anywhere, we got to keep him. And as Kitty mentioned, he got the big contract, and he came through big time with a 3-run home run in the 6th. 1 for 3 on the night. Sinker's low, ball 1. Let's go back to last inning.
Yeah, this is why he got that standing ovation. Clemens behind in the count, down and in, and Piazza with that great extension knew immediately it was gone.
He's got a quick bat. Quick, short stroke. Power to all fields. A lot of people feel he's going to go on to be the greatest hitting catcher of all time.
And to think he was a 62nd round draft pick. I mean, there were like over 1,500 players picked before the Dodgers did Mike Piazza's family a favor and said, let's give the kid a chance. That's because they scout players with a stopwatch and a radar gun. And Mike doesn't run too fast. Probably didn't have that great a throwing arm. He's stronger now.
That's inside, straightens him up, and it's 2-1. Maybe not the power that he has now.
As Al Leiter, who went to Phillies games as a kid, Mike Piazza grew up a Phillies fan, loved Mike Schmidt, used to sit behind third base at Veterans Stadium. Al from Toms River, New Jersey.
Pitch is fouled back just to our left. And that's 2-2 on Piazza. Check out our Wiz scoreboard, and the Boston Red Sox have taken the lead on the Atlanta Braves. That affects both teams tonight at Shea Stadium.
Mets weren't big Red Sox fans in '86, but they're sure pulling for them tonight.
towards right field. Knobloch comes up when it throws the first. Not in time. Piazza beats it out. Knobloch couldn't get enough on the throw, but an excellent stop by Chuck in right field.
Piazza comes up a little gimpy hitting the bag there. Because of the jam shot, he didn't get out of the bag. Mike out of the box. Mike doesn't run particularly well anyway, and Knobloch makes a great play. You see here, Chuck has no throwing problems when he can release it quickly. Played that as well as he could. Nothing he could do playing Piazza over to pull, and he just beats it out.
2 on and 2 out for Robin Ventura, the Met third baseman. He's looking for his first hit of the night. He's 0 for 3. Ventura's come up with some big hits for the Mets this year. 64 runs batted in, leads the ball club. He has thrived in situations like this. Bouncing ball to the right side. Tito Martinez is going to take it himself. He races to the bag, beats Ventura. And the Mets going to leave a couple against Jason Grimsley, who gave up 2 singles, but nothing else here in the top of the bottom of the 7th. We head to the 8th, 5-2.
Uh-oh, here comes the skipper. Looks like there's going to be some fireworks now.
What are you doing tonight? Helen and I don't have any plans. Great! Smokey and his wife are coming to my house for dinner. Would you like to join us? That'd be great! Great! If I can beat the traffic, I'll pick up some Bud Light! Bud Light! Looks like you're out of here! I'll see you and the wife tonight!
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
You have a beautiful home here! Oh, thank you very much!
New Yorkers love choices. There are 300,000 places to work, 2 million places to live, and 12,000 taxis to get you between them. And nobody offers New Yorkers more choices than Delta Airlines, like the most reliable shuttle and the most choices to Florida. So when it comes to flying, New Yorkers feel that there's really only one choice. Delta Airlines.
All year long, Adidas and Modell's team up for special Yankees products and promotions.
Taxi! Stop! Hey! Somebody call 911! Hey!
Hey, is this your truck?
Yeah.
Come on. Get a Toyota Tacoma 4x4. You can't get a more powerful V6, and with up to $1,300 in option package discounts, it's a steal. So's the Tacoma 4x2, rated best overall value of the year.
You okay?
I'm good, but officer, is that your car?
Yeah.
Come on.
Al Leiter will move into the 8th inning.
Kind of new territory for him. He has not been there much. 7 2/3 earlier. Remember our Continental Airlines fan poll. Should the Yankees and Mets play 6 times in a season? That's opposed to should they play 3 or 6. We invite you to join in our voting in our poll. You can do so by clicking on the New York Sports Poll on www.msgnetwork.com and vote on the question of the week. We always discuss it on the postgame show with Michael Kay and Al Trautwig. Let you know the results. Give you a chance to participate as Al Leiter, who has not pitched a complete game this year, has gone 7 2/3 once. Strike 1 to Jeter, and I think the reason he's in there right now, Dennis Cook pitched in yesterday's ball game, Franco on the DL, and Paul O'Neill waiting on deck, and then Bernie Williams, the switch hitter. So if Leiter can get Bobby Valentine a couple of outs here in the 8th inning. Pulled foul, 0-2. Kenny, this is the advantage of pitching for a team with a good bullpen. Because every out, you're just taking an out at a time. It's not that you don't want to pitch a complete game. There's the old grizzled veteran, Dennis Cook, getting ready just in case. But you know right now with a good bullpen, you don't have to get foolish. You can just pitch every hitter like it's the last out of the game. Upstairs on purpose, 1 2 to Jeter.
In fact, the last Mets started to throw a complete game was Al Leiter. Pitched a 5-hitter against the Braves September 4th of last season. Well, that shows you that Bobby Valentine not afraid to go to the bullpen.
sharply, right at the Gold Glover. Boy, have they put on a show tonight. I mean, that was right at him, but that ball was hit awfully hard, and you could see Robin wince when he comes up on that sore toe he's playing with. He is not comfortable.
You know, like Andy Pettit, left-hander who throws a lot of pitches inside, left side of your infield is going to be busy, whether it's Ordonez or the third baseman Ventura. And you can see Ventura. Ball is scalded, as Kitty said, but he's got the sure hands. He's had him for a long time as he throws out Jeter for out number 1. You know, one of the things about pitching inside to right-handed hitters by a lefty, get a lot of balls pulled foul for strikes and a lot of balls hit to your third baseman.
Here's Paul O'Neill. Got the Yankees back in the game temporarily as the slider misses for a ball with a double. Yeah, there's a difference between pitching down and in out of the strike zone like the great Steve Carlton did for years and Andy Pettit does on his good days, or down and in leaving it in the strike zone just above the knees. That's the one that the hitters love. Inside, 2-0.
Well, that down and in that Ron Guidry used to toss up. Man, that was nasty stuff.
The ball that Piazza hit out of the ballpark tonight was down in that zone. Armando Benitez and Dennis Cook.
Bet you the Orioles wish they had Mr. Benitez now.
What a luxury to have a pitcher like John Franco, has been the closer here for years, go down with an injury. Good pitch there by Leiter. You don't have to go out and do what the Arizona Diamondbacks did tonight. They went out and got Mike Manti, the hard-throwing youngster from Florida.
The pitch previous had moved O'Neill off the plate. That's why he couldn't hit that one.
There's a Benitez fan. Off-speed pitch. Leiter's doing a great job of pitching. I admire this late in the game when you've got a good bullpen, but he's pitching there. He's changing speeds.
Took something off of this breaking ball. O'Neill fouls it off out in front.
It's like Bobby Valentine does too. A smile on his face with a 3-round lead, 1 out in the 8th, and a good bullpen behind Leiter.
And no Mel Rojas in sight.
Got him to reach, and O'Neill stays alive. We talked about the Mets starting pitching, and that probably an area where they would like to get a little better. But bear in mind, in the last 22 starts, the 3 pitchers in this series, Leiter, Reed, and Hershiser, are 19-3. The team is 19-3 when they start. So they have been doing a much better job lately. They're waiting for Bobby Jones to come back, and it's the kind of team that, you know, maybe Steve Phillips the second half of the year would go out and get a big-time starter. There's the Bulldog. He'll pitch Sunday. Outside, 3-2. Yoshi pitched in yesterday's ball game and the Expos. The Expos came in here and beat the Mets 2 out of 3. The Yankees will see them at the stadium right after the All-Star break. The Braves come in for a rare Thursday, Friday, Saturday series. Ventura's there and snares the liner 2-away. And then the Expos Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday at the stadium.
This is the 8th play that Robin Ventura has been involved in tonight. And they haven't gotten one by him yet.
They keep trying. You mentioned the pitchers that pitch inside. Reminds me of those great Baltimore staffs when they had Dave McNally and Mike Cuellar. They just threw it down in there and let him hit it to Brooks Robinson and the late Mark Belanger. Here's Bernie Williams. Just missed, ball 1. Leiter, who turned his season around back on June 6th in a Sunday night game against the Yankees at Yankee Stadium in beating Roger Clemens. Off-speed pitch on the corner, 1-1. In that one, he went 7 innings, allowed but 1 earned run. In the month of June, 5-1, earned run average under 3. The National League Pitcher of the Month, and pitching with worlds of confidence. Just missed. He gives you the idea, and in past years, Al Leiter was a thrower. He gives you the idea that he has a little bit of an idea where he wants to throw every pitch. Throws it with conviction.
He's used to pitching in big games. He started the 7th game of the World Series. against the Cleveland Indians a couple years ago.
Fouled at the plate, and it's 2-2.
And did a very credible job at a game that he wasn't involved in the decision, but allowed his team, the Marlins, to stay in there, and they won the World Series on the night he started.
Well, we hear this a lot at Yankee Stadium with Yankee fans. Now the Mets, 53,820. They get to their feet looking for one more strike from Leiter. Toward third. 9th time Ventura's been tested, and he's perfect. What a night for Leiter, Ventura, and the New York Mets. Keyed by Mike Piazza's 3-run homer, we head to the bottom of the 8th. They lead it by 3.
Allow us to present America's best warranty. One with 10 years, 100,000 miles powertrain coverage. 5 years, 60,000 miles bumper-to-bumper protection. And 5 years unlimited mileage roadside assistance. Who makes such solid cars that they can offer a warranty this strong? Presenting the Hyundai Advantage. It's yours on every 1999 Hyundai.
Some people will naturally put themselves out for others. Which is why one day, we hope that Rebecca's favorite job will be with the world's favorite airline.
Sears Giant Wall-to-Wall Tire Sale. Get incredible deals for whatever you drive. All brands, all sizes, all tires on sale. And with thousands in stock, we've got the right tire for you right now. Sears, your smart stop for tires and batteries.
Competition brings out the best in the 300 horsepower Lincoln Navigator. And now, the smart money is taking advantage of year-end leases on Lincoln Navigator.
The lights behind Shea Stadium. It's been a highlight night for the Mets tonight. We want to remind you that you can welcome the Yankees back to the Bronx. They'll take on the Atlanta Braves. That's July 15th through the 17th. The 17th Helmet Bank Day. Fans 14 and under will get a helmet courtesy of Fleet Bank. And then you can see the Yankees and the Expos wrap up interleague play the 18th to the 20th. Historic salute to Yankee great Yogi Berra on July 18th. As McRae pulls the first pitch foul. All fans that day receive a commemorative Yogi Berra Day pin courtesy of Chase Manhattan Bank. Get your tickets at the usual locations. Let me correct the Marlins trade. It's Matt Manti that was traded to the Arizona Diamondbacks from the Florida Marlins. Another ground ball induced by Grimsley. And Knobloch's shovel toss. Well, Kenny, if you got a third baseman that plays like this and you're Al Leiter, say, man, what would you like tonight? You want to go downtown and have a nice dinner? It's on me. Pick your favorite restaurant. Leiter's night is over with. You stay close to those third basemen when you're a left-hand pitcher like Ron Guidry did to Greg Nettles. 9 opportunities that Ventura handled flawlessly, and it looks like Armando Benitez, the hard thrower that the Yankees are very familiar with, will pitch the ninth. Strike one to Cedeno. Rogers had a nice night. Couple of hits, was thrown out by Posada earlier in the ballgame. Grounded over the head of Tino Martinez, and with Cedeno's speed, he'll head to second base. Even O'Neill's strong arm is not going to get him, and Cedeno has his third hit of the ball game.
He was thinking double as soon as that ball got over Tino's head. He was going to put the pressure on O'Neill, who made a strong throw from right field. But Cedeno running hard all the way, gets there ahead of the throw. For Cedeno, his 12th double of the year, and he was flying around the bag at first.
That's the influence of speed in the game. Tino Martinez, respecting Cedeno's speed, was playing in level with the bag. He's playing a normal position. That's an easy 2-hop out. Here's Ordonez, who also has a pair of hits. And right now, Cedeno would be, as Grimsley takes a peek at him, Cedeno, and I'm sure with his schooling from Ricky Henderson, a threat to try to steal third base here with one out. Matt Franco waiting on deck to pinch hit for Leiter. And Willie Randolph reminding Jeter to keep Cedeno close. In for a strike. In the 9th inning, Benitez would work to Brocious, Tino Martinez, and Jorge Posada.
They match up with Tino Martinez, huh?
A well-publicized matchup they had a couple of years ago. Outside, 1-1 to Ordonez. The Mets have played tonight very much like the Yankees did in '96 and '98. They got great starting pitching. They're just solid in the field. Timely hitting. They have the one player, Bobby Valentine does, that the Yankees I don't think have in their lineup. The Yankees have depth and balance with O'Neill and Jeter, Knobloch, Bernie Williams right on down the line. That's low, but the Mets have a guy who can carry a ball club when he's hot, and that's Mike Piazza. It's like Kirby Puckett used to say during his Twins days. Jump on my back, boys. I'm driving the bus, and Piazza can drive the bus. Not an outstanding catcher, not a Gold Glove catcher, but as you mentioned, he may go down in history as the best hitting catcher. And he's a run producer.
Yeah, he got each base, put that left turn signal on tonight.
Way outside and away from Posada. Cedeno will advance easily. Wild pitch. That expression says a lot about what Joe Torre feels about tonight's game.
And with this wild pitch, the Yankees are forced to bring the infield in off the back of the glove of Posada. And Grimsley, when you got that hard sinker, every once in a while it's going to hit the dirt.
Cedeno at third with lots of speed. The infield in. Squeeze, but bunted fouls. Ordonez does that. I didn't think they'd do it with a 3-1 count, but I guess Bobby Valentine is saying even with Matt Franco on deck, thought he might let Ordonez swing the bat there. They tried the squeeze.
Ordonez has a couple of hits tonight. He's driven in a run, so that's another reason why not to think the squeeze, but here it is, and it's fouled off. He does get a piece of it.
Now the count full. Got him. Big strikeout for Grimsley. That keeps Cedeno at third base with 2 out, and Bobby Valentine will go to his bench.
Free swinger at the plate, and he finally goes to a breaking ball. Was nowhere near being a strike, but Ordonez, you know, some of those hitters, when they're free swingers, they get to a 3-2 count. They figure anything close, I'm going to hack at, and that wasn't even close.
Bible hitters, thou shalt not pass. Pitchers love them. Matt Franco has been a solid pinch hitter, filled in for Robin Ventura at third as Cedeno takes his lead. This is a nice story of again of perseverance, a guy that'll do anything you can to get to the big leagues and stay there. That's low for a ball. When Matt was with the White Sox, he was a great hitting prospect. Didn't think they'd find a position for him to play. One day Jim Riggleman, he had a lot of injuries to Ray Sanchez and Todd Zeile. He said to him, "Can you play second base?" Franco had never played second base in his life. He said, "Oh yeah, I can play there a lot." He said, "I was scared to death." The next day he played second base, did a good job. It's the way you keep yourself in the big leagues. Fouled at the plate.
Of course, in the National League, get many more opportunities to pinch hit. And Matt Franco is 10 for 35 this year. including a pinch hit homer and 7 runs batted in. He is the Mets' #1 man off the bench and one of the best in the league.
Outside, 2-1.
And one of his buddies that he grew up with went to high school in Westlake, California, Westlake Village, California,
where you used to live.
Yeah.
Todd Erdos getting ready just in case.
Going to the All-Star game, Mike Lieberthal of the Philadelphia Phillies.
Olerud done a nice job tonight. His home run.
Must be getting ready for the celebration.
He's getting the confetti ready. Popped up left side. Looks like it might be playable. Brocious on the warning track will put it away. So Grimsley does a nice job to prevent the Mets from tacking on another run, but the Yankees will have to deal with hard-throwing Armando Benitez when we come back after this. As you see, it's been all Mets. 5-2. They pounded out 12 hits, knocking Roger Clemens out, and it's in the hands of Armando Benitez. Our Delta Airlines upcoming schedule, nationally televised game tomorrow on Fox 5, and then Sunday we'll be back with you. That'll be Hideki Irabu against Oral Hershiser. Then the All-Star break, and of course the All-Star game will be Tuesday night at 8 o'clock on Fox 5. That catches you up on the Delta Airlines upcoming schedule. Well, Benitez, no stranger to the Yankees from his days with the Baltimore Orioles. And what a luxury. The Mets 43-1 when leading after 8. You see Benitez numbers. Do you believe that? 72 strikeouts in 44 innings. You add up the walks and hits, and they're 5 less than the innings pitched. That is a great combination of power and control, and that's usually the only question with Benitez, control. Strike one.
Using his slider quite often. He has struck out 49 men in his last 27 innings.
That is domination. And to think he was used as a setup man for John Franco. High 1-1.
You know, I mentioned earlier that if Baltimore, they're probably rethinking what they did here. I don't think you trade a pitcher who has the capability of throwing 100 miles an hour. You know, the Mets did it years ago with Nolan Ryan, and they've regretted it ever since.
Chili Davis hoping he gets a pop at him this inning. He would be eligible to hit down in the lineup as that slider outside 2-1. I think, Kenny, very few managers are pitchers. And
Ray Miller was a pitching coach.
Ray Miller was, exactly. But very few are, and I think sometimes you see pitchers traded away early because that's hit well. Down in the corner. And it is fair. Henderson will play it on the carom, and Brocious has a leadoff double.
Well, let's look at Brocious. Good fastball hitter, especially one up in that zone. I mentioned the other night in Detroit, he hit one home run, just missed another. So that pitch in a similar area, high fastball, and he's on it lately.
That gets the Yankee fans buzzing as Tino Martinez steps in. Of course, this has been quite a confrontation. Back to the patience theory with managers. Ray Miller has not shown the same patience as a manager that he did as a pitching coach. He's openly criticized some of his pitchers, and you never do that as a pitching coach. And sometimes I think we see it with Lou Piniella in Seattle. You lose patience with young pitchers that can't throw strikes. Outside, ball one. You see the shot of Tino's eyes. He has a little card. It's an index card with a red circle and a green circle. And if you focus in on it long enough, both circles meet in the middle. And it's a training device to try to train your eyes on seeing the ball. Look at those eyes. 2-0. Wide open. Yeah, he's following it right into the catcher's glove. Big pitch here for Benitez and the Mets, because another base runner, they know they'll have to deal with Chili Davis coming off the bench. Posada would be next.
Well, the Yankees trying to get the tying run at least to the plate. An opportunity to at least tie the game.
Fastball and a good cut, foul back. This is the incident we're talking about that happened after Benitez has given up a home run to Bernie Williams. This was actually last year in early May, and wow, it was ugly when that broke loose. Fortunately, both teams and all the players have moved beyond that. Tino said that's the second time that happened. That's outside, and it's 3-1. Sunday on our pregame show, our Marriott Marquee Scorecard show, we're going to have an interview with Armando Benitez, and he is going to give his side of that story. That happened that night, May 19th, 1998. Another good swing, 3-2. That's how much I put it behind me. I thought it was 2 years ago. It was just May of last year. Two good swings, and the count is full.
Meanwhile, the Orioles bullpen this year is in tatters. While this guy is striking out 49 men in his last 27 innings.
Mets fans looking for a big strikeout here. Fouled out of play. Well, the advantage, if there is any, that Tino has with a full count, he is rare for a left-hand hitter. He is a better high ball hitter. And Benitez, for the most part, throws you that high gas, about letter high. Tino's had some really good swings at it.
Well, he should be zeroed in after all of these pitches on how hard Benitez is throwing. And believe me, he's getting it up there. That last pitch was 98 miles an hour.
A breaking ball, and Tino Martinez stayed alive. Wow.
You know why, Kitty? Because he's gotten some good swings at it.
Yeah, I mean, with a 3-run lead and a 3-2 count, that's pretty either gutsy or chancy, a 3-2 breaking ball.
It was a strike, an 87-mile-an-hour slider.
Sim making sure he noticed it was a foul ball. And the fans will stay on their feet. Another good swing. Nice battle right here. This is what in 53,000 plus, as Posada is on deck, have stuck around. We see a lot of fans leaving after the 7th inning. For the most part, they've stuck around, and this is what you stick around for. A guy that can throw hard and a guy that can hit a home run hooking up.
Yep, that's what they paid the money to see. Another 98-mile-an-hour fastball fouled back by Tino Martinez.
Got it. It looked like Benitez came back with the slider. Great pitch. Good at bat by Tino Martinez. You tip your hat to Armando Benitez.
And I said this is the pitch that's made him more effective, the ability to get his slider over. And after Tino fouled back so many fastballs, 98 miles an hour, he goes to another pitch. And there's the eyes of Tino Martinez following the ball, but no contact on that one.
Actually, that looked more, the action was more like a splitter. Or
cutter, maybe?
Yeah, it did not break like a slider. Whatever it was, Benitez was happy with it. A big out after a long battle with Martinez, and here's Posada.
You know, Tino had payback on his mind, too. Those hitters have long, long memories.
In for a strike to Posada. When we're done here on MSG, Bill Daughtry will be at the sports desk. Darryl Strawberry worked out today in Tampa. Bring you up to date on interleague play. And Mike Quick's ABCDs of basketball camps. And at midnight, Fox Sports News, all here on MSG. In the air to center and playable. McRae puts it away, and the Yankees are down to their last out.
Posada takes a pretty good rip, but skies it to center field. You can see McCray getting it in. He didn't have to get it in quickly because Brosius went halfway. Armando Benitez just going over the third to back up just in case, as he should.
And the Mets on the verge of the most emotional win they will have had all year, I'm sure. They did it with outstanding starting pitching by Al Leiter, 8 solid innings. Great fielding by Ordonez and Ventura as Curtis steps in. Outside for a ball. And the long ball. Roger Clemens victimized by John Olerud back in the third inning to give the Mets a 2-1 lead. And then Mike Piazza's big blow, the 3-run homer in the 6th. High 2-0. Curtis right now, and if I'm Chad Curtis, I got to take a pitch because that man's waiting in the on-deck circle, and he represents the tying run. And he did, and it's in for a strike, 2-1. Earl Weaver would have loved this game, wouldn't he, if he was managing the Mets? The 3-run homer, outstanding pitching, and Ventura has played like Brooks Robinson at third base. Outside, 3-1, and if I'm go ahead.
So Piazza trying to pull that ball back into the corner.
And if I'm Chad Curtis, I don't know if he'll get the sign from Willie Randolph, but your best chance against Benitez is a base on balls. I got to take another one and see if you can get Chili Davis to the plate. We'll see what Chad does. He did, and it's ball 4. So the Yankees at least get what they hoped they would this inning. They will get the tying run to the plate. And it'll be Chili Davis. And the Mets fans are getting everything they want. All fans, Yankees and Mets, getting everything they want in tonight's ball game, coming right down to the last out. And they're sticking around to see it. Dave Wallace, the pitching coach, with a trip to the mound, and I'm sure all the reports that this is a pretty good matchup for the Mets because Chili Davis is an outstanding hitter. We know that. He's been on the bench all night long. He is a better off-speed hitter from the left side of the plate. And I'm sure that might be the message right now to Benitez. Give me some good old country hardball. Chili pinch hitting this year during interleague play 1 for 5.
I'll tell you what, though, Kitty, you turn back the clock maybe 10 years. Chili could dial it up.
Oh, yeah. But even in his younger days, he was always known as a fastball hitter right-handed and a slider speed hitter left-handed. And it is not easy when you're used to DHing coming off the bench in a pinch hitting situation. I'm sure he'll try to dial it up right here. Here we go. Outside, ball 1. Didn't get it, 1-1. Chili Davis in his career has 5 career pinch hit homers.
98-mile-an-hour fastball.
Ironically, his last was 7 years ago against the New York Yankees. Inside corner, moved back across, and the Yankees again are down to their last strike. And the rest of the 53,000 that are left here will get to their feet. Fouled straight back, stays alive.
The Mets in all their years have had some hard-throwing pitchers. You mentioned Tom Seaver. Think of Jerry Kuzman.
Nolan Ryan.
Yeah, some great hard throws, but I don't think they've had anybody out of the bullpen who's thrown like Benitez.
Tino Martinez with a good battle against him, lost that. Gets by Piazza, went to the off-speed pitch, and the runners move up, and boy, is that doing Chili Davis a favor. I mean, granted, if you throw a good one, you can strike him out, but a guy who has trouble catching up with your fastball, this only speeds his bat up.
It's about as wild a pitch as you're going to see. And that'll move the runners along.
2-2 with 2 out. And of course, Brocious and Curtis's runs don't mean anything. John Franco's enjoying this. He's been in the middle of the diamond in these situations without a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. Got it. Armando Benitez strikes out Chili Davis to save it for Al Leiter and the Mets in a game that saw Bobby Valentine's team play and pitch about as well as you can. The Mets win it 5-2.
You mentioned, Kitty, the luxury of being able to drop back to a guy who was closed in the past and is looking for the opportunity into the future. The Mets do not know how long John Franco will be out. Estimated from 3 to 10 weeks. It's nice to be able to drop back to somebody like Armando Benitez.
That was the big blow. Mike Piazza, his 3-run homer off Roger Clemens back in the 6th inning after the Yankees had tied it at 2. Another look at the last pitch. Kind of a Linda Ronstadt, blew by you. 98 miles an hour above the strike zone, and the Mets can celebrate win number 1 in game 1 of this 3-game series. So the emotion of this crowd and the Mets players tell you that even though players will say they don't like too many interleague games, there certainly was a lot of electricity here in this stadium tonight.
Well, this is the crown jewel of interleague play, Mets and Yankees. And every time they've played, it's been all that it's cracked up to be.
Sure like to see them in the same division in the same league. Wouldn't that be fun? Lots more to talk about on MSG. The Mets win it.